Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw.
Howdy.
Salute.
Absolutely.
Friday Night Live on Front Porch Talkin.
Yes.
Hello, all
Post
you,
Hurricane Helene.
all you breadheads and Cornbread Nation followers. We appreciate it. Want to
Yes.
say we really appreciate the kind words that we've received from some over the last day or so of how much you like the podcast. That means a lot to us. And not only that you like it, that you love it. And that is so cool to hear, and we appreciate it. And I was telling some today, Rob, let us know you want to come up. We like company. We'll bring you up. You know, we do that.
Absolutely.
But it is post. I don't know. Before we get into that, I don't know if you saw my post today of what I said that I felt like that Helene looked like. I was out at the store last night. I don't know if you saw that. My family, and I think I sent it to y'all. I don't remember if I did or if I didn't, but my family got a chuckle out of it. But I thought I sent it to both of us, but maybe I didn't. But I did put it online. I think maybe that's what I did. I put it online, and I've had some comments off of that today. But Helene was not friendly. We don't want to see her back. She was not good company. And in the South, we're hospitable people, but if you overstay your welcome and you do bad things while you're there, we gonna deal with you, and we just say don't come back.
and I'm gonna throw this out there. We dodged a bullet over here at extreme Southwest Georgia. I mean, it kept shifting east, and I was cheering every time it did. Sorry, you guys over in Southeast Georgia, but
they got hammered.
We are praying for y'all. We know y'all got hammered, and everybody all the way up through into the Carolinas. Now it's moving on over through Tennessee and Virginia and everything, and getting over toward Missouri. We're praying for all of y'all. We dodged a bullet, y'all didn't, but that don't mean that we're not praying for you.
Well, by the way, this is Rome, Georgia. I got sent this today. This is a church in Rome, Georgia. It's completely destroyed. Here is the inside of the sanctuary. It's very ugly. You can see pews and things floating around. It's basically a loss. That's not the only one I have seen. I've had preachers posting some other churches, and so let's just remember all those folks. There's I think it was over 30 dead or something like that across the South. A number of those were in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And
check on your neighbors. Check on your neighbors. If y'all don't have power, check on your neighbors. Make sure they've got water. Make sure they got food. Make sure they're there.
A lot of people with no power. My aunt lives in Florida, and she was talking. That's my dad's sister, and she was talking about how scared she was. They had wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour where she lived, and it's just there's whole portions of shoreline that are just gone because of the storm surge, and all the way up into the Northeast and Midwest is a lot of rain. There was a hospital today up in Unicoi, I think it was, Tennessee, where they had a dam broke and they had to rescue people from the top of the roof of the hospital. There's pictures and video of animals being rescued. In fact, one of the TV guys rescued a girl out of her car. He called 911 for her, and he thought, just hold on, I need to just go help her. So he went because she was hollering, and he said, we got 911 call, but you don't know how long it's going to be before they come. So he just went over there, and she got on his back, and he carried her through it was almost up to his shoulders, how deep it was. She'd gotten caught up in it in her car. And there's just going to be tons of pictures and stories like that as we go. So just so very sad. the aftermath, the day after, the day of, and lots of work to be done. Pray for all the linemen putting up electricity.
Absolutely.
They have a hard job. I mean, first they got to get, into the place. So that means the first people in's got to be those with the chainsaws. And then you can't go where it's flooded, so you got to wait for the water to go. And then you got trees down. A friend, a girl we grew up with, a good Christian lady we grew up with, she just got her roof repaired from storm damage, and now she had a tree come down her yard due to this storm, hit the roof again. Wow. So they live here in the area, and so just saw that. It impacted a lot of things. There was a guy at work. He was scheduled to go to a conference, a human resources conference at Lake Lanier Islands on Monday, Tuesday. I was in his office talking to him, and the email came in while we were in there. They canceled it due to storm related issues and damage and everything else. So, I mean, it wreaked a lot of havoc. There's a lot of destruction.
Well, right now, what I'm showing, if I'm reading this correctly, I'm trying to figure out how many are without power right now in Florida. And what I'm getting, it looks like still 581,000, but that's down from millions. If I'm seeing that right. There's another one.
Update is there's at least 41. That may even be higher, but 41 in 4 states. That is going to probably climb. That's just, but that shift really saved the area that I'm in too. We didn't even really get much of the backside of it. It had swung so far east and north, and then when it swung around, it was just on a track that was way away from us. A lot of rain, still some wind, and there's definitely creeks rising and roads closed and stuff like that, and they're damaged, but not like it would have been. But I'm going to tell you, up into the Carolinas, oh my goodness, they and other states too.
Well, what it's saying here is on Friday morning, there are 1.2 million, a little over Floridians without power.
Which is understandable because it hit there with the full force of the storm.
By 5 p.m., nearly 740,000 Florida customers are still without power, which that means that they'd already got 500,000 back up. So when you look at it on that scale, they're working their heinies off,
Well, yeah, and a lot of those are going to be where tree limbs or the lines snap themselves, and they'll work on those that they can get I won't say easily restored, but fairly quickly restored. That way, that number goes down. I would say the closer you get to the coast, it's going to be significant time because there's just the infrastructure. There are boats on top of cars and houses and everything else. They said, I'm sure there's roads destroyed. Coastline roads for sure.
Some of those images they were showing of the boats and stuff just getting washed up the roads.
Yeah.
And the propane tanks floating. There was several videos of just propane tanks floating in the water.
And I don't, it's everybody's right to I guess, to do what they want to do. But I would just say for those that, I know they told some of them to get out that live in trailers, but if you think you're going to ride out a hurricane in a trailer, you need to rethink that. I mean, it's go stay with somebody, go to a shelter, get fun. Even if you're low on funds, there's somebody that can help you. The trailers just even fastened down. That's no place to be in a storm. And unfortunately, there were 2 that died we know of from a tornado that came through that. So I know that could happen anytime, but that's really not something you need to try to ride a hurricane out in as a trailer.
Well, we rode it out in this double wide. This double wide was actually built in Florida.
Yeah, but those have a little.
It's supposed to be able to withstand a
category. They're heavier constructed and stuff, and they've got more to them.
And that's being this close after Hurricane Michael's why I got this one. Of course, I'm within 20 yards of my grandparents' house, which my uncle lives there now, but I can always go up there, and we'd already had it all worked out. And
I really meant single, trailers, that the long rectangular.
Oh yeah,
There's just it's they're not constructed for that. They're just paper
no,
thin. Some of them. They've upped the standards on some of that. I mean, some areas you can't even put trailers anymore unless they
yeah,
are. Most people's going the modular now. They're trying to get away from trailers. There's still people buys them, but if you look what's on the lot, they're usually more the double, heavier constructed and stuff because
yeah.
county codes and stuff like that are just not going to let their grandfather in those that are already there, but they're not going to let those be put in their county anymore. A lot of counties are doing that. I mean, a lot of counties just updating the code on them because you know what, they see it over and over and over again, the death and destruction of those. And trailers understand it's affordable housing, but we can do better. There's a way to do better.
But this one wasn't cheap, but it's got, I bought it for a reason, because it is sturdier built. It is safer. It's made to withstand more. And it's got it doesn't, if it catches on fire, it's not just going to poof like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. You don't want the wicked, wolf coming along saying, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. That's what Helene was, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down and your trees and your power lines and everything else.
Well, I'm going to brag on our guys around here because our power never flickered that I know of, and I was up for it.
Yeah.
And I was watching the creek over here, making sure it didn't come up too far, which it didn't. It's still in the banks, barely, but it's still in the banks. We got some small limbs down, but I took down the trees that I thought would be dangerous already before the storm ever hit.
Yeah.
My wife asked, she said, what are you going to do if that storm picks that tree up and throws it into the house? I said, if the storm picks that tree up, the house ain't going to be here. Don't worry about that.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So.
Oh, my goodness. Hello, Daniel.
Is Daniel in here? Yeah, he is. Sugar Britches, you go have to get to a computer, dude.
Yeah, we got to get him on the show.
Well, he needs to be on here.
He's faithful to watch our program for, come in and say something. Tire Man can't say enough about those who support us and stuff, and let us know that they're out there. You're gonna have to be careful how you top that, Rob, because sometimes you top fast, you might miss a word, and you could really get in trouble there with that last word if you weren't being particularly.
As long as I make sure I get the R in the right place, we're good.
I was just thinking about that.
I looked before I hit enter on that just to make sure. That's the only thing I look at and make sure I got britches and there's an R in there. Okay.
I just want to protect you, brother. There are sites dedicated to showing text and emails that people have sent without really proofreading them. Yeah. And they're embarrassing and they're funny and they're shocking and everything else. Have you ever typed a text in and you looked down at it and went, "Ooh, I'm glad I didn't send that yet"? Just by accident, you didn't.
Normally, I look down and normally for me, it's I look down and go, "Ooh, I should have proofread that."
Yeah.
Fortunately, I spelled bad enough. Most people just assume that I misspelled it, and that's a lot of assuming. Because sometimes I didn't misspell it, and they think I did. But, that's okay too, because it'll be all right.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
So,
well, welcome again to Southern Fried Podcast, the Cornbread Nation on a Friday night front porch talking. I was so looking forward to this all day long. The last couple of days, and just by way of explanation, well, really, I guess if we go all the way back to the lead up to this, we've had a lot going on, and of course with the storm.
Oh yeah.
One night you couldn't be in, and that was Wednesday night, wasn't it? Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then we were up. We were all tired, and we were all, me, you, and Cowboy Cook was talking at like 3:00 in the morning. And I didn't go to
Wait
bed
on the
till
worst of the storm.
it was 4 o'clock. I forgot to set my alarm, and I was so tired because I can't sleep good when there's a storm coming. I can't. But I had fallen asleep, gotten a deep dream, and I woke up and it's like 6:20, and I'm like, well, I guess we're not on the air. So
And I was up all night the night before, pretty much all day the day of on Thursday, all night last night, pretty much. I think I finally went and laid down about 4:45,
yeah.
and Jenny kicked me at 5:30. She said, "You want some coffee?" I was like, "Yeah." I never turn down coffee. So she went fixed me a cup of coffee, brought it to me. I drank a swallow, turned over, went right back to sleep.
Yeah, I know. I got
Sorry.
up and did a short program and just to let everybody know we were okay and you were okay and kind of give some updates, some stuff we knew that was going
Yeah.
on.
But guys,
Um,
I'm sorry. I didn't make it this morning.
well,
But
we've
it's
all,
understandable. But
yeah,
I hate to.
just to
I
say our
hate.
normal, we done really good considering. I mean, most of the normal programming was there. Maybe you were out one, and we modified this morning's, and
Yeah.
we got to get back to our funnies. And I didn't do a devotion this morning because I overslept, but it would have been probably just more about the storm damage and read a verse or two, and then not really the damage, but more the people, and just praying for God's blessing
Now
upon folks. But we'll get back in the swing of it. We've just had a
we need to
crazy
go
week.
back. We need to go back over something that I think y'all were doing when I wasn't here about song titles that would fit Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, well, I said we can't let a storm steal our fun, and so I was had people name dropping songs related to the storm, and we had, I did "Riding the Storm Out" by REO Speedwagon. We had a couple other folks come in there, Michael come in there, and a lady I work with had posted some song titles, and they were good titles. I mean, "Raindrops Falling on My Head," and I
Singing in
can't
the
remember.
rain.
Singing in the rain, yeah. So you gotta keep your mind, thinking on stuff instead of just sitting around worrying all the time. So we had a little fun with that.
I was thinking about Riders of the Storm.
Riders of the Storm, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm. But yeah, there was a lot of good ones that could have went
There's
with
a
that.
song by Jackal called "When Will It Rain?" Well, we found out. It's kind of like "Who Let the Dogs Out?" I mean, that
Yeah.
rain came and it raining cats and dogs. We've heard that. I think there was a cow and a couple of camels in there. This, wow. I went out. I got to work, by the way, on time. I mean, this regular time. I just abbreviated the show and got moving. But I was sitting there and I was really just looking at a couple things, and um, I should just went on in. It was raining. All of a sudden, it got harder and the wind kicked up. I'm like, oh, and I parked closer to the door. There wasn't as many people there today. And a guy come along with his little umbrella,
Yeah.
and he was already up there, but he waited and held the door open for me. And I trekked across the parking lot there. I was pretty soaked, hair just totally soaked and dripping. He goes, "I would have held the umbrella for you," is what he said. And I said, "Well," I was kind of looking at something. You were already gone. I wasn't going to call you back. And I told you here a while back, I don't never do umbrellas, and I know I probably should, but I said it's water, it'll dry.
Yeah. Well, a lot of elderly people do carry umbrellas, Dave.
There's a lot
Yeah.
that do. I'm not the typical elderly guy, so
Well, it's very distinguished, for elderly people to carry an umbrella. I'm just saying, throwing it out
I
there.
I don't I don't
Just
know that I'm distinguished. I mean,
well, we know you're elderly, but we don't know about the distinct. Okay, well, I was giving it to you.
Oh man, I was thinking about how wild it is. All these things we do on these social media streams of their programming. In the middle of the night, when we weren't talking, I was getting contacted by this someone on TikTok, and they were asking me if I was. They named my two oldest grandchildren's names and said, "Are you their papa?" Or they call me Papa, and I said, "Yeah, I sure am." And they asked me if I knew somebody else, which is their cousin. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know them too." I'm thinking, "Who is this?" And they said, "Well, I'm that girl's boyfriend." What what a time difference, age difference. Here I am
Yeah.
bumping 60, and man, you know what? He reached out and that was cool. I said, "Nice to meet you." He said, "Nice to meet me." And I had to catch myself. I wanted to say, "Hey, you better be a good boy now.
Oh, that would have been entirely
You
appropriate.
better be nice now. We're not going to put up with no shenanigans."
No shenanigan. What exactly does a shenanigan entail?
It can entail a lot of things, probably that we can't repeat.
Oh, okay. That's an Irish word, isn't it?
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to
I,
assume that's an Irish word.
well, I'm part Irish, so my mom was a Kelly with red hair, and I had red hair when I was a kid, like you.
Hmm.
Not flaming though. I'm
Okay.
not throwing the flaming in there, but yeah, we Irish. Probably was O'Kelly when we were in Ireland. It just became shortened down to Kelly, but I think probably all of them were O'Kelly. And
Yeah. I don't
so
know.
my dad's side is English, so I've got this Irish English mix going on. I'm always at war within myself,
Well, my
which is the
grandpa's side
problem of
there,
mankind anyway.
my grandpa's side there is the McClendons. So, yeah, good
Oh
Irish
yeah.
name. Blevins, that's
I
not
don't
really.
know when mom's side of the family got to America, but it's late 1700s, around 1777 ish, somewhere in there is when dad's side came. There was three brothers that made it over. So I've got tracked all the way back to about there, and names and wives and kids and all that. But I really need to get over to England and do some study there. But I'd love to know when mom's side came. So anyway, we're here,
Yeah.
and we're glad to be here. I love America, patriotic American. There's a few people I would like to deport out, and I'm not just talking about illegals.
Well, hey, and speaking of being a patriot and loving America, everybody get out there and register to vote.
That's
Y'all
right.
come on,
There
get
is
out there and
10,
register.
I think it's 10 days. You got 10 days. I know in the state of Georgia, 10 days
And
to
hey,
get registered.
there's for those of y'all in my area down here over in Decatur County, District 2, make sure you get out there and register. Y'all are voting for a county commissioner down there. And, you know,
Stephanie Harity.
yes,
And we have had that interview up since late, well, kind of not real late, but
last night.
later in the evening, late evening, had that up, and there's been quite a few views on two or three of the streams. I've been paying attention to it, and some comments as I plugged it into some of those folks, and we've got it pinned on our page. But yeah, it's really been going. She's got 178 plays just on Facebook, and it's doing
Yeah.
fine. It's doing fine. That message
So,
is getting out there.
y'all, District 2, Decatur County, County Commissioner, y'all get out there, get registered. This Well, people don't realize most people get out for presidential elections. They think this is going to affect me more than anything. That's not what's going to affect you. What's going to affect you is directly and quickly is your local. I mean, because as soon as they make a rule or a law or whatever, boom, it's intact. It's there. And you're stuck with it. And the people that you elect into office are the ones that make these laws, rules, regulations. That's the ones you got to make sure you got the right person in the spot. Um, there's a whole big bunch of stuff going on in Bainbridge, and you know there needs to be somebody in there that's responsible and transparent.
Which she's county, but that would influence things that are going on
Yeah,
because people are concerned about it being in their area. They just don't have a. They're just not situated in the city. There, she said, but she's county. But even if you're not from there, watch that. Just show her some
yeah,
Southern hospitality. She was a lot of fun. It was a fun interview, and you gotta respect those that step out and run. And so
yeah,
give the interview a watch and share it along. She'd appreciate that. And yeah, we do need people to register, but we also need those people that's been registered to get off their tail and go, as we say
yeah.
around here, tail feathers and go vote.
That's not what I say.
Well,
But you know
those
what?
that's
Get
the
off your
strongest words you're getting out of me.
get off your rumpus and get out there and vote.
There is
Come
no
on,
excuse. There's no
no,
excuse. I'm sorry. I'm just not
it's
even going
too
to pull the
easy.
punches on that one.
Hey, if you have any questions on voting, we did another interview with deputy director of the voting in your county, correct?
That is correct. Catoosa County, Rebecca
And it's
Kaysen.
pretty much the same rules all over Georgia. Y'all watch that one. If you have any questions, they'll mail one to you. You can go in there early, yeah, and they'll give you the dates. You go in there early. You can go in the day of. It does not take that long. And
October 15th. October
they got
15th.
mature days and everything else. Y'all get out there and do it. We really, really need everybody to vote this year. We don't care who you vote for. Okay, don't get us wrong. Now both of us are conservative, and we're proud of that. But it doesn't matter if you're conservative, liberal, whatever. I don't care if you purple, red, blue, whatever you are. Get out and vote. Everybody vote. You know, make sure your relatives get out and vote. It's important. And this
You
election
know,
cycle, I think it's more important than it's been in a long time. Get out
you
there and do it.
know what's sad is, Rob, if they told the people tomorrow you couldn't vote, the outcry would be
Oh yeah,
everybody would say, oh, "You can't tell me not to vote." But they got every right and freedom and ease to go vote, and they won't do it.
yeah,
It's something weird about humans. It's that you got to tell them they can't before they will. I mean,
yeah.
if there was a rumor they weren't going to be able to vote,
But
it'd take the full 3 weeks to just get everybody through. Because they'd be standing in line, but tell them, oh, come on down, it's easy, and we've made this as easy a process as possible, and we got extended hours and Saturday and all that. Then they say, oh, I just couldn't make it down there.
yeah, but there's too many times and ways to do it. There's no excuse, like you said. But the ones that don't vote will be the ones complaining the loudest if it gets taken
Oh
away. That'll be the ones that
yeah,
complain. Oh, and it's also the ones that don't vote that complain the most about the people who got elected, and they didn't even get out there and vote.
yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
they'll complain. I just when I hear somebody start talking politics at me, the first questions out of my mouth is, "Did you vote?" And if they say no, I say end the conversation. I do. I don't want to talk about it with them because they didn't care enough to get out and vote. Why do they care now? I'm not really interested in that opinion at that point. Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to
Oh,
have you maybe pull something up here in a minute, Rob. I can't do it from my side because I got to get
but
extra
that
screen. But keep
do you
talking, and
agree
I'm
or
listening. But
do you agree or disagree with that? If they didn't care enough to get out and vote, do you care to hear what they have to say? You know,
Not really. I mean, because they've already showed their colors and how they feel about stuff. And I
hey, we got
I have spoken very strong on this podcast about that. That if you're not going to be, if you're not going to be any better of a citizen than that, I mean, it's
yeah.
turn in your citizen card. I mean, come on.
Hey, we got a lot of
um,
people out there on X and Twitch. Hey, y'all come on if you want to and leave a comment uh, about people that don't vote.
okay, Rob,
And
I just pulled up. I just went to the Georgia site, the Georgia.gov, and and my sample ballot is in there. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah,
What is in there, and all the offices that are there. It's not that long of a ballot, actually. I thought it would be longer, but it's not. But if you, Rob, could go to that Georgia.gov and pull up on your extra screen at the top there, and we didn't plan on doing this, so bear with us. At the top there, I'm going to open this up in a new tab because I want to see what you're seeing. If I want people to notice something.
all
Uh,
right, at the top.
at the top of the page when you open that up before you sign in, because this is Georgia now. It's going to show you how to do that. Go to just put in Georgia sample ballot, and it'll be the easiest way to find that. What I'm talking about, the page I'm talking about, GA sample ballot. That's all you got to type in. It'll be the first thing that pulls up, and it's going to be this mvp.secretaryofstate.ga.gov / it's got a bunch of stuff there, but it's going to pull up. um there's a couple of boxes at the top, and I wanted to focus there first, Rob. So
All
don't
right,
type in anything, but put that on the. You see what I'm talking about? And it says, if you'll pull that up, give us just a second, folks. This is how easy this. I mean, you can't get any easier. And so
Yeah.
there at the top, Rob, right there, the 2024 absentee ballot request window is open.
Yeah.
You know, there you go. You could go ahead if you have not done that, and you don't have to give me and Rob or anybody else a reason why. If you want to do that, do it. It's your right. Do it. If you're not going to go to the precinct, do that. And then it has about the thing there about the hurricane, the emergency, and all that. But if you will also look, see that view a sample ballot.
Yeah.
Click on that button, Rob. We're not going to top in anything, but click on that button, and then you'll see it's how easy it is. First initial, last name, county, date of birth, and if you're registered, your sample ballot's going to pull up. And we don't want to do that on screen because that's Rob's personal information. But I just pulled mine up. I've got my sample ballot. I'm going to be reviewing that, folks. It's that easy in the state of Georgia. It's that easy. Yeah, Rob, if you want to do that off thing and then pull that up, we can see what what the offices are for you. That's pretty cool. I mean, you can't get any easier, folks. This is so easy. And if you don't know how to use computers and stuff, I get it. Some people don't. There's always somebody to help. Get them grandkids. I guarantee them grandkids know they can build a rocket to go to the moon. They'll figure it out. Kids figure them phones out. They'll figure computers out, and they'll help you. Or go to the library. Go anywhere. You go down. They'll help you. People help you pull that up. Now, and what I wanted to say about this sample ballot is this is a way for you to know what you're voting for. If you don't know the office, you don't know the candidate, you don't go research. There you go. Then you can fill this out. You can check all the boxes there you go. Number one there is for the president of the United States. And by the way, there's a lot of names on there, right? More than what you might be expecting. Yeah. Because there's some Jill Stein, that's the libertarian. I believe. And then I didn't even know that these other two were going to be on here. Honestly, Rob, I didn't know that. 3, actually. One of them is probably Green Party. Then you got write-in. So, you've got that. And then you've got what else you got? You got State Senate District 12. And, what was the first one? House District 2. Yeah. And we've got A. Wayne Johnson, Republican, and Sanford Bishop, incumbent Democrat. Then State Senate District 12. No, and by the way, I hate it when I see this. Yes. No opposition. I think there ought to be opposition just to at least make them campaign some. Yeah. Freddie Powell Sims. Nothing against him. He's the incumbent Democrat. I'm just saying I'd like to see a race. For the House of Representatives, Gerald E. Green, incumbent Republican. So that's District 154. For the Clerk of Superior Court, vote for 1. No opposition, incumbent Gail Johnson. For sheriff, you got some options there, Rob. Yeah, you got a Republican and a Democrat, Mr. Greer, Mr. What is that, Clinty? Yeah. And so, by the way, there's no incumbent there, so I guess they're going to get a new sheriff. So, yep, I didn't know that. Tax commissioner, got the incumbent, who's the Democrat, Republican, going there. There's the incumbent coroner. They vote for themselves. They're in, and then for County Commission District 5, no opposition. Mr. Calhoun, Clifton Calhoun, a incumbent Republican. And then you've got for the county board. And by the way, how important is your board of education for your children? Yeah. Very wow. Important. And, again, you need to know who these people are. Vote for 1, no opposition. Then you got some proposed constitutional amendments. Now, you're not voting on a law. They're asking your opinion about stuff. These are proposed constitutional amendments, and do you vote yay or nay? And then he'll have to read through that. It looks like
this will change it here. This is what you're.
Oh, this will change it. Okay, yeah. But House Resolution 1022. Then you've got a second one there. Provides for a statewide Georgia tax court. Interesting. Statewide referendum question. Raises amount of taxable personal property tax exemption from $7,500 to $20,000. And then that's for that. And so that's it, right? That's the end. That's all you got.
This right here is why it's important to look at these sample ballots. Okay, so they're actually asking you, do you want us? What do you think that we should raise your taxes on personal tangible property tax. That your exemption should go from 7,500. Okay, that's an exemption.
It's
So that would
exemption.
actually lower your tax bill. Yeah, you can vote for that. But that's why it's important
I'd
to
say
look
that'll
at
get voted in.
that. Yeah, that's that's
In
coming.
hard economic times, or any time that's going to go
Yeah,
in, but especially
and
hard
that's
economic
statewide.
times.
So you get to vote on that too.
I get to vote on that. What was that other one? Let's look at them real quick. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Oh, the statewide. That's a statewide Georgia tax court.
Yeah.
Well, read that right there. I can't quite see that.
Shall the Constitution of Georgia be amended so as to provide for the Georgia tax court to be vested with the judicial power of the state and to have venue, judges, and jurisdiction concurrent with superior courts?
Wow.
That's big.
Wow, that is big. Wow. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know that was going to be on there.
That's on there.
I missed it. It's so easy to I didn't know that was pushed forward.
Why are we going to give more
You'll
power?
have to look into that. I don't know if
why are you going to give more power to the taxman? No.
I'm not sure on that one, Rob.
I am. I'm not giving him no more power. No, I don't think so.
And then the other one was general laws, statewide homestead exemption that may differentiate among political subdivisions.
So shall the Constitution of Georgia be amended so as to authorize the General Assembly to provide by general law for a statewide homestead exemption that serves to limit increases in the assessed value of homesteads, but which any county, consolidated government, municipality, or local school system may opt out of upon the completion of certain procedures? No, they need to give more information on that. I'm not.
Better do your research. That's a lot of wording there. That's a lot of wording. Go look at it. By the way, it gives you where that's located. So you could go look that up, House Resolution 1022, and go read everything that's been done about that. So you can go to the website there that has all the bills and everything and potentials and all that, and you can find out more info. So I would do some research on it. I'm just saying, as in general, I think it'd be good to do. So, but yeah, folks, ain't that great? I mean, it's provided. I think we were talking to Rebecca. She thought that sample ballot was loading then. I hadn't had time to look until now with storm issues, but that's so fun to have that. What I was going to say is, the last thing I was going to say is, you can take and mark that, and they have sample ballots by precinct, because different precincts, that's Rob's. Somebody in a different area, it'll be a little different. The president be on there, but they might be they have a different district commissioner or whatever. But they'll have them on the wall of your precinct. Early voting, they'll have them broke up by areas of your community. But what I was going to say is, if you go ahead and have that, and you're allowed to pull that out in the voting booth.
That's the only thing you're allowed to pull out.
That's it. You can't pull out a phone. You can't call a friend. You can't talk to your neighbor or your husband or wife, or you can't ask a poll worker any questions about that. They are not allowed to answer.
In this country, nobody has the right to influence your vote. That's yours. Right. It is personally yours, and you vote what you think, not what somebody else thinks, not what somebody else has convinced. You vote your conscience.
So what I do, Rob, is I print that off and I sit down with my wife and we go through that thing. She loves this, by the way. We go through it, and we'll go through each race and get it marked, what she wants to vote for. And then we talk about it as a husband and wife, sure. And once she's got all that, then she just has that ready, and she goes sometimes, because I'm usually either working or I'm doing election anyway, because she likes to early vote, and she'll just go by there one day when she's getting off work early and goes by there and gets it done, and she loves it. She loves the early vote. She'll stop in there. It ain't crowded. She goes in there, gets it done. She'll send me a text. I voted. I put a little sticker on her chest there, like we all do. I'm a Georgia voter, and she got her in. And it's a good feeling to know you've taken part in the process of voting. So again, whatever state you're coming from, I'm sure there's similarities there of how you do that. Find out what your state does, and get that information into the hands of the people that need it. And I'll just say this as a poll worker, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people walk in and go, "Oh, I didn't know that was going to be on the ballot. I didn't know that race was on there. I don't know who these people are." And we always tell them, look, you can go back out to your car. There's still time. You can go back out. You can use your phone in your car, and you can, look these things up.
Yeah.
And then come back if you're early voting, come back another day. And we have had people go to their car, phone a friend, everything else, get some research, and they'll come back in and say, okay, I'm ready. So, anyway, just go vote. But Stephanie Harity, she was a lot of fun. I look forward to having her back. Small business owner. That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great. Did Bainbridge, by the way, Rob, I didn't hear, did Bainbridge suffer a lot of damage? Because I thought about those business owners over there in Bainbridge.
I don't think they did. I think they're about like me.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I throw this out there too. A lot of people in this day and age will say something to the effect of, well, my vote isn't going to matter. Or they'll say, well, they're going to put into office whoever they want. Okay. Your vote does matter. It's yours. It matters. Even if the guy that you like or don't win, you still send a message to somebody, hey, I didn't like you. I did not vote for you. I voted for the other guy. You're sending a message, at least.
Well, and some of those races can be very close. And so it's incumbent upon a victor to address all the voters and say, listen, I appreciate all of our supporters that have elected us to this office. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. However, there are many of you who did not vote for me. And I understand, and you're not happy tonight. But I would say they need to say to those folks, and I've heard them say it, give me a chance to show you what I can do. Call me, contact me, and we'll try to, try to be that, that representative for you that you'd be proud of. We may disagree on some things, but sometimes it's just that they like somebody else better. It's not even how they actually governed. It's just that was their neighbor, their friend, their family member even running, and they didn't win. And just say, hey, listen, I know that you were behind my opponent. And I think it's important for the candidates themselves to call each other up, or, to call and congratulate and tell their supporters, hey, listen, we ran a good race. We thank you for the support. We did, we didn't win. We come up short. Maybe next time. But this is your elected official now, or will be when they're sworn in, or whenever it flips into the new year. So please support them. And I just think it's important. We need that,
Yeah. And see, it won't be, he's going to, or she is going to be your elected official. It's going to be, he or she is going to be our elected official.
Yeah,
because they're going to be representing that person as well that lost. And people don't think about that a lot of times. The person that loses is still represented by that person now. So,
I'm probably gonna make somebody mad here, Rob. And listen, I'm walking a fine eggshell line right here.
Ooh, I like it when you do this, because it means I'm fixing to throw some gas on the fire. Go ahead.
But I'm really speaking from a faith background here of how important it is to pray for, and you know what, it's probably come out of my mouth too. But when we say stuff like, well, that's not my president, well, it really is, and it's not who you wanted, or a senator or representative. It's not who you wanted. But it is the elected official, and I understand about steals and all that. I get it, but they are the one that was sworn in. So to that end, even though you maybe can't stand them and you hate everything that they do, I get that. We still have to pray. We should have respect for the office of that senator's office, the office of the president, or whatever it is, and we do bear responsibility to pray for those folks. And because God can move them when we can't, God can move them, and we just need to pray for them. So I try to stay away from verbiage like that because I think it takes us down a road that, I'm not saying to ignore our passion and what we stand on and challenge them or nothing like that. I just think that we do have to recognize that they didn't, they're sworn in. They are now fulfilling the office of whatever it is, and for better, for worse, we have to work through them if we want to get things done. And so I just think that I know that's a lot of people are going to like I said that. I would just say we've got to we again, God, and you could, I gotta say it this way: there ain't nothing happening that surprised God. There's nothing, and He's allowed this to come to pass, and so it won't alter His plans whatsoever. His plans right on, right on. Some people listening may not be a believer; they may not be a Christian, but I'm a firm believer that things are going to clock along just how they're supposed to. But we got to play our part, and God's plan won't be altered. Doesn't mean we won't make mistakes with our decisions, or certainly, and God will allow us to do that, but won't alter His plan. Won't alter His plan in one bit. I was looking on your ballot there, Rob, and
You throwed a bunch of stuff out there. My turn.
okay, go ahead. No, I just want to say, really, it's in conjunction with what I just said. So let me say this, and then you take over. Your ballot, if you notice, was filled almost 50-50 Democrat and Republican.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the incumbents
Yeah.
that don't even have anybody running against them. So that is a very diverse ballot for South Georgia, Rob. It really, really was. I'm a little bit shocked, to be honest.
Go ahead. A lot of people down here will run Democrat. All of them, just about.
Yeah.
So, and I agree with something that Stephanie said last night. It should all be bipartisan. At this level, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I care who's going to do the job and do it right and fairly and be transparent. That's what I care about. So, anyway.
Well, your local sheriff ain't going to have nothing to do with the hot button issues of the day that the president and senators have to deal with. He or she's arresting criminals.
Yeah. Okay. You said something a while ago.
All right.
And you didn't like hearing people say, well, that's not my president. Okay. I don't say that. Okay. And we should respect the office of the president. And I get that. But it's awfully hard to respect the office of the president when the other party is completely against it. They're completely against
the office.
When Trump was in office, I'm just going to use Trump as an example. And then I'm going to use Biden as an example. When Trump was in office, every Democrat was enraged and hated Trump, had no respect for the office of the president. When Joe Biden's in office, every Republican is enraged at Biden. They don't have any respect for it. So how can the average citizen have respect for the office of the president in this system and nowadays, to where the other party has no respect or regard for the office of the president?
Well, two things, Rob. One is I can't control what other people do, so I can control what I do. Two is the office of is simply that, the office of. I think you kind of mix the two together there. There's the man or the woman, and there's the office of. I may have no respect for the person that's sitting in that seat. When I say the office of is just the actual that we have a president, have respect under the office of President of the United States. I may not have any respect for the person who is the President of the United States.
But what I'm saying is the people that are out there, the Democrats, if it's a Republican president, the Democrats. If it's Democrat president, it's the Republicans. They have no regard for the office because the other party is in there and they're not doing what they want them to do.
And it's been that way for a long, long, long time, and it's getting worse.
It's getting a lot.
Well, I said this at my church, and it may rock some people as well. But again, because I think there's some decorum, we have to be statesmen. We have to have respect. Mm-hmm. There's a time and a place to call people out. I'll say it, and one of them is somebody that I have voted for, which and I don't mind saying, because I voted in the 14th district. I voted for Marjorie Taylor Greene. However, her and Lauren Boebert and maybe one other, I didn't agree with them hollering out during the State of the Union address. I don't like that from either side. I'm not just singling them out. I think there's a decorum and a proper way. That's a very high level come together, that State of the Union before the whole of America. And I felt like it's almost like the lack of a better word, the TikTok moment or the X moment or whatever. You get a little reel, you get a little soundbite, and they send those things out, and everybody says, "Oh boy, they told them off." But when we do that, we lose some respect, and I think that goes a long way. The same could be said for Nancy Pelosi sitting behind President Trump and ripping the papers up. That was the most classless move I've ever seen in a State of the Union. So I'm saying it's both sides. And what's it going to? It's almost like we're trying to get that ESPN moment where the slam dunk, and it's I just hate that because there's a time to debate, there's a time to challenge, and there's a time to call people out. I don't think the State of the Union, while it's going on, is the time to do that. That's my opinion, and I think that is lack of respect for the office of president, whoever's doing it. My opinion. That's David Cordell. That's not Southern Fried Podcast. That's me, and I'm just saying that because I believe it. I'll stand on it. I think that we have to have respect, and we can seethe and we can talk under our breath or whatever. But I don't think the shouting out. But
Okay.
yeah, it's nothing new. I'd say that's probably happened before. I think it's gotten worse. I just think it's gotten worse.
What do you think about? And I believe this is happening, and a lot of the Democratic liberal talking points, they're inciting in nature. We've had two assassination attempts on Trump already this year.
Yes.
That is not respect for the office that he's running for and the office that he has held. This is, I mean, you're trying to incite people to kill him, is what it seems like.
Yeah, we have to tap down on the talking of really just trying to destroy people. Stay on the issues and really, I said that from the debate. I thought that former President Trump should just stay on the issues, leave some of that other stuff alone. He kind of fell into that trap a little bit of trying to get that, moment. Boy, I told her there, just stay on the issues. The issues will speak for themselves. They're so bad, and they love it when he gets off the line like that because if you get him talking on those things, then we lose something. So I just think that it's not right to to do that and have respect for the office that you're in. Another one I'll mention, what's her name? The one, oh, she's been there forever. I mean, she was out in the streets, I'm talking about, and it was one that was telling them to go after MAGA wherever they are. I mean, you can't talk like that. I know her name and I can't think of it.
Bush.
She's been a senator for a long, long time.
Corey Bush.
That's wrong,
no.
Huh?
It's not Corey Bush, is it?
No, but she's another one that was like that. You've got the big four, whatever they call them. I mean, they all do it. The squad, yeah, they all do it. AOC, Corey Bush, the two. I mean, they're Islamic lawmakers. One from Minnesota, or maybe they're both from Minnesota. I can't remember where the other one's from. And again, we're not talking about you can't be something and serve, but I think you're disrespecting not only your faith, you're disrespecting the office of when you act like that. We're not saying that everybody in Congress is a bunch of choir boys or women or whatever. No, but there is a decorum that should be had. And every meeting, Rob, including churches, basically fall under the Robert's Rules of Order. And they're supposed to basically abide by that, which keeps things moving along. It allows for debate, but it stops people from just hollering out whenever they want to. And it keeps the respect there.
Yeah. When you were talking about these people that are these senators, Congress people, whatever, they're saying, you need to go after the MAGA wherever they're at, and you need to call them out and don't serve them and all that. Now, if this role was reversed and they were treated that way, they would be the ones screaming the loudest against it.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
They treated me? Me, of all people?
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at they abused me. Come on. Yeah,
well, there's a whole lot of victim playing in Washington. They all love to get a hold of a good story where they can say, "Hey, look at me! Oh, how they're doing me!" But when they're doing it, they don't like you to point that out.
And I love the way our media covers this now. I still think One of the best things ever was during COVID. We have all this stuff going on. There's so many different elements to it. And they go to Nancy Pelosi's house and we watch her eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream. That was the Pulitzer winning grand news story that we're going to do. We're going to watch Nancy Pelosi eat Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Who cares? Don't get me started on our. If you can't got nothing better to report on than Nancy Pelosi eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream, then go find another job. There's plenty of stories out there that are worth covering.
I'll just say this, and this whole idea of really paying catering to one demographic. There's people all over the political aisle that's going to be in trouble if they don't shift off of that, because really every demographic is basically falling except for one. And they know this, but you don't hear as much about it. But the numbers are changing so quickly that it's going to change party politic here soon, and it's already sort of started in a lot of the state level and county level and all that, city level. But very soon, it's going to be more on the federal level. And that is the fact that our country is not too far from being majority Hispanic, with all the influx of those, and they'll become citizens eventually. Most of them, if they're not going to deport 11 million people. It's not going to happen, folks. If you think that's going to happen, it's not going to happen. President Trump will never get it approved to deport 11 million people. But there will be some, but he'll never get support to do all that. And as those people become citizens, and you have, I think it's by 2050. So we're, 26 years from now, or less than that, 25 years, we'll say about 25 years, the United States of America is going to be majority Hispanic. Now, Hispanics vote in different ways. Some are Democrats, some are Republican, and they're certainly very family, and they're very involved politically. And that's going to change the dynamics of things, because now you have a block that is really big. It's the biggest one, and they look at all that. I mean, if we, they have marketing. They do out polling to see what the issues are in different communities. And certainly nobody's going to abandon the African American vote or nothing like that. I'm just saying that the biggest block of people will be Hispanic within 25 years. I may or may not be around to see that. I'll be 60 next year. But if the good Lord tarries is coming and we're still here, or people are still here, the demographics of America are going to change rapidly. And you're going to see some differences. It's going to cause. I think this is the last year, Rob. I really do. I could be wrong. I think this is the last year of what I will call the very, very, very elderly presidents running. I think with Biden, and of course they done kicked him to the curb, and with Trump, I think you're going to see, because the voting block is getting younger, and they're not going to be interested in the very old or the very elderly or whatever you want to say. Yeah. They're going to be looking for somebody younger, and they feel like more understands them as a voter and as a human being, as a citizen of the United States. So I don't know, Rob. I don't know where that goes, but it's without a doubt those things are happening.
And I'm going to throw something else out there for you to think about, and for everybody else out there to think about. Why are colleges teaching politics? Isn't that something? That's our personal choice. Why are they teaching? And I hate to use the word indoctrination, but I'm going to. Why are they indoctrinating their students over to being liberal or conservative or whatever, which is not no conservative, but why? Why does that degree mean that you get to tell everybody else how they should vote and how they should think and how they should be? What made them the moral giants?
Well, you could. That's a deep subject, and I think on one level you could say they have for decades seen themselves as the as elitist and educated that they know better than most Americans. We know better than you, so we're here to help you. Also, number two, they realized if you want to change things, you got to get to the young. You get to the college level and even younger. You get them younger and you shape their outlook, their worldview toward what you want it to be. And then you're sending them out in the world. The more you do that, the more they would think that, things are going to change their way. And that has occurred to a great deal.
Yeah.
Conservatism has really enjoyed a resurgence for a long, long time, and it's still very, very powerful. But there's a great move afoot. I mean, to be maybe not extreme left. I really think it's crazy that that Democrats go so far left, because if they just stay a little bit towards the center, they clean the clock. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because then you remove all the controversy and you shut down those rabble rousers, I'll call them, who get up and say all those things. And same thing could be said on the right to a degree.
Yeah.
Some extremists are, I think there's a move to neutralize them because they don't like the controversial sound bites. And so I don't know on the left, there's not been a move to eliminate them entirely, but on the right, there has been that, and I think will be that. Uh, and if you think about it, those voices are not as loud as they used to be. They have worked to neutralize some of these folks, not entirely, but to a degree. They've pigeonholed them. They've kept them off committees. They basically have to go to the press and social media and whatever to get their messaging out, because they're not really involved in very powerful committees or anything as to make government move. So, and they
Yeah.
pretty much told them, if you take this line, that's what we'll do to you. And that's what they've done.
Well, I think personally, they need to take politics out of school. They're not there to be indoctrinated. They're there to learn about what it is to be a liberal, what it is to be a conservative. But the teachers and the professors should not be swaying them one direction or the other. All right. That is just absolute elitism. What gives them the right to do that? I don't think they have the right to do that. And I think, it should, stop should be put to it. It's just like these people
That's
that
the
are,
agenda.
yeah, it's an agenda from them. It's not a government agenda. It's a private
Well,
agenda.
think about it. Think about it. And I know I'm probably missing stuff, and there would be people challenge me. But where does your education come from? So you have these same people that went to these colleges and they got a degree so that they could become a teacher, correct? So they
Yes.
go back to their place to become a teacher. The only problem is they're not allowed to teach how they see it. There's very little leeway. All your education comes from the state capitol. Working through teacher unions and others, they approve the textbooks and they approve the testing, and all that stuff is all controlled state level down. So basically, Rob, it's a handful of people telling a whole lot of people what you will do, and then you've got millions of kids that are sitting in that, and so they can control what that messaging is by simply rewriting the textbooks, Rob, and saying you will teach this textbook and you will test to that, and then challenge anybody to try to stop them. I mean, I know I'm simplifying that to maybe a level that's not quite fair, but I think it's
Yeah.
pretty dang close.
Yeah. I
Because
think
if
it
you
is.
talk to teachers, they will tell you, well, we have to teach, we get paid for kids to pass a test. So they teach to the test, and they have to teach the curriculum that has been approved. Obviously, you don't want to be rogue. I get that. But the curriculum that has been approved from the state, and that they don't have any leeway on that. They have to teach to that. That's how they keep a job. That's how they make, that's how it rolls, brother. And so it's a very powerful force. And so it's very hard to make change locally. You have a lot of people, and I get it. I think they should run for school boards and all that. And there's a lot that can change, but when it comes to the curriculum, there's not a whole lot they can do. There's little bits, but most of that is I mean, the state's paying the funding for the public education and the teacher salaries and all that's coming out of tax dollars and all that. But they approve that. I've said this before. Go ahead. I want us to make
I
one
would
more point.
love to see a president with the outright cojones to say from a federal level, we're going to cut federal funding to state levels, to the states, unless they quit doing politics and just teach the core. I would love to
Well,
see.
Rob, President Trump says if he's elected, he's going to dismantle the Department of Education.
That would be awesome.
I don't know if he can get it done, but that's what he said.
I'd love to see him dismantle that teachers
We're going
union,
to get rid of it.
because the teachers
And
union, from what I've seen, that's the biggest bunch of jokers out there.
it's
These
very
major
top
teachers
heavy, and they're powerful. He also said he was going to get rid of the IRS. Now, I don't know if any of that will happen, but
he can do that. But if he does,
I don't either. But I just want to say, I've said this before, and I'll just do it briefly. When my oldest son went to school, and he has a documented learning disability. However, he's not to the level that he can't learn. And this is why you have to be careful. And this is why you have to challenge people, no matter how many letters they got behind their name, because God gave us a whole lot of common sense. And one, you got to have a belief in your own kids, because I'm going to tell you, the state don't. They don't. I was told, because my son was so shy, and it was hard for him to communicate. He did at home, but it was hard for him to communicate. And he does have a documented learning disability, but he can learn. It's not that he can't learn, it's just harder for him.
Yeah.
And there are certain areas he will never be great at, but he can do. But in the first grade, I think it was first grade, I've told this before, I got called down to a meeting, and I didn't even know they were testing my son.
Wow.
And around this table was me, the principal, and one or two teachers, and this person from the state who had came down, and they had tested my son all week. And I don't know what all those tests were. I wish I'd demanded to know every little thing about it.
Yeah.
But I got so mad, I basically just, I sent her packing back to go to Atlanta. And I hope this lady somehow hears this, because I've said it before online. And what a failure you were in your job, and so-called, talking down to us and act like we're bumpkins and we don't know what we're doing. But this lady had the audacity to say that my 6-year-old son was so disabled that, and there was many things, but among the things she said he would never be able to do was feed himself, clothe himself, work a job. Let's see, dress himself, work a job, clean himself, feed himself, live by himself, blah, 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 blah. And I said, hold on, time out. And I said, what do you base this on? She said, well, I don't know if you know it. I've been testing your son all week. Now, Rob, I think there's probably, there are some good tests out there. And I think there were good tests that could have been held for him. And I don't know what all they used. But Rob, this was the two examples that she gave me. And I've said this before on the air. The two examples was she gave me that she was watching my son and he ate a hot dog from the middle out instead of from end to end. And I said, who cares? Who cares? She goes, well, that's not normal. That shows he's disabled in his brain, his cognitive, powers and all that. I said, that's all you got? She said, oh, no, I watched him one day. He tried to eat a banana before he peeled it. And that's not normal. There's something wrong with him. He's disabled. I said, man, where are you sitting at when he observed you, or when you observed him doing this? She said, well, I was sitting right across the table from him. I said, don't you think he might have been a little nervous that he has some lady he don't even know sitting across the table watching him eat? And she mumbled there. And so I really lost my temper. And I said, ma'am, I ate mud pies when I was a kid. What does that say about me from your expert opinion? And she slammed her book down, said I was a parent that would, didn't want to recognize my son had problems. And She couldn't deal with me because I was closed minded and all this stuff. And I told her what she could do with her job and her studies and everything else and get on packing back to Atlanta.
Who
And I
told
never,
her?
I never saw her again.
Who gave her permission to test your son?
I
Who
don't
gave
know,
the
but
school
I will tell you
permission?
this: after the meeting, the principal and the teachers thanked me for standing up and said, we support you 100%. They almost started laughing when I said about the mud pies, and they told me this is what they told me. Now all these people are retired, and they might even some of them be deceased now, but they told me that they were not allowed to say anything. If they said anything, they'd lose their job. They said we had to go with what she said.
Negatory.
I said, well, I said, I'll tell you right now. I said, I'll pull him and homeschool him for I'll let a monster like that deal with my son again. I said, you keep her away from my son.
That was Gestapo tactics there.
It burnt
Wait,
me up. And so
is
we're
that
going
not,
back
is that not
32
extortion?
years, 32 years ago, this happened. So
Is
it
that
ain't
not extortion?
just now. Well, I'm going to tell you what, they talked down to me, and she said, she basically insinuated, and by the way, this is very much in the news now. She basically was insinuating the state was basically the owner of my son. They were just allowing me to raise him. And I said, no, ma'am,
So,
that's my son. God gave me him.
yeah,
You get your hands off of him.
amen to that. Oh, it's
Oh,
a
I
good
was
thing it was
steaming.
you and not me. Uh, uh.
I'd hate to think what she'd come in there and tell you about Chuck Norris and that, his
Oh my
eye and all that.
God. She
Oh,
say something
he would.
about, say something about my Kit Kat eye. She would be kicked to the curb.
We can't let people come in and talk about our
No,
loved ones like that.
no. If she come in
Get
talking
out,
about
Jack.
Chuck like that, he wouldn't be the only one with one eye.
You jack leg.
Take her and have her neutered.
I felt like
Like
I was brought in before I'd run the gauntlet. I thought, what in the world? Nobody's speaking up. I was a really shy guy, but I'm going to tell you what, I stand up for my kids. And I said,
Oh my goodness.
we need to do a commercial, Rob. We've been running here for a bit. We probably need to do a quick commercial.
What? Okay.
Well, thank you, John. And by the way, John Dawson, we appreciate all your comments on X, and we appreciate your follows.
Hey,
You've been
John.
forwarding out the podcast. We thank you so much. God bless you as a patriot, and we appreciate you, brother. Appreciate
Yes,
you
we
being
do.
in here. And yeah, you know what? We got to stand up for our kids. We got to stand up for our family. We can't let these jacklegs just take over and tell us how it's going to be. No, that's not how that works.
Hang on. I know you want to run a commercial real quick, but let me
No,
throw
it's
this
all
out
right.
there
That's
for
fine.
everybody.
Go right ahead.
I want to do it. It's
we appreciate
important.
it, John.
The people that are out there, these school teachers and stuff, the only way that we have to fight back is we've got to educate our own children. We've got to.
Oh yeah.
That's the only way to fight back against this indoctrination is you have to give them a firm rooting at home. You have to.
Yeah. By the way, I want to say one
Home.
more thing. And Jeremy was in some special ed classes, but he did. By the way, he works today. He owns his own house. He has children. I mean, he's a fully functioning adult.
Yeah.
And he works where I do. He's great. He's my son. I love him. And anyway, about a year later, maybe it was about a year later, maybe two. One of the ladies that was great with working with him, and she was awesome. She called me down. She wanted to meet me. And so I went down to meet her, and she said, Mr. Cordell, she said, I just wanted to let you know I'm going to be leaving the school. And I said, oh, we hate to leave because I knew this is going to be, one, she was great. And two is that she was, my granddaughter's waving at me, so I'm waving at her. Not at you, Rob. I'm waving at my granddaughter.
It's okay. You can wave at me if you want to. I'm
waving at you too. So there she is. Okay. But anyway, she said, I got married and I'm going to be, we're moving to another state. She said, I'm going to be a teacher and wherever they were moving to. He's got a job. He's got to move there. And I hate it because I knew how much Jeremy really liked her and what a disruption it would be. She was a great teacher. But this is what got me about what she said. This is about 30 years ago. 30 years ago, she said quietly, like there might be microphones listening. She said, I just want to give you a warning. She goes, I'm really concerned about Jeremy. I said, well, I am too. I said, what is it? She said, don't let the school fail him. She goes, I care about him. I love him. But there are people here that don't care.
Yeah.
And I know this. And I can't walk away without knowing that you're going to fully fight for your son. If she said, if the very thought that those people, she wouldn't say names, would be over him and what the damage they might do, she said, I don't know that I could sleep at night. Now, that was 30 years ago, Rob, 30 years ago. Yes, amen. Amen to that. And by the way, we're going to have an interview with a friend of mine. He's a pastor, and we're just going to get this set up. But he's going to come on and he's going to tell you his story. He pulled his child out of the public school because of something that they had going on, some agenda, and he put her in a private online or a Christian school, and she is flourishing. He's going to come on and tell his story, and he's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to say about her kids and about protection for the kids and their minds in the education system of America. So this is one man's story. We're not saying a universal work for everybody or that it even needs to happen. I'm just saying it's what it's what his story. It may help. Yeah. It may help others.
If you're looking to get involved in homeschool stuff like that, get advice.
So he's a pastor. I said, brother, you use scripture, whatever you want. It's your story. And we support that. And so, of course, I believe in the scripture and all that. But he might preach a little bit, Rob.
Be all right.
That'd be all right.
I'm already in the back pew, so it'll be all right. All right. You know, as Baptists, we got to sit in the very back pew. All right. All right. Well, here we go with a commercial or two, and we'll be right back.
We'll see you in a couple minutes. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, one of the blessed things we've been able to do is partner with the wonderful people at Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. These folks are a no-kill shelter in Donaldsonville, Georgia. You see the contact info on the screen. And these folks would love to have you come adopt a dog or a cat. They have folks that come from all over the United States, not just the state of Georgia. They're great folks. It's been a wonderful partnership between Southern Fried Podcast and ARA. And we've been blessed to meet some of the folks that have adopted animals from ARA. Also, we've been able to encourage people to donate and volunteer. They encourage volunteers that are in the area, and they're just wonderful people. We'd love for you to contact them, meet them too, go on their website, see some of the animals, and we know you'll want to partner with them too by taking a dog or a cat to their forever home. Join with us, the Southern Fried Podcast, in support of this great work of the Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. We know you'll be happy you did. I know we are. The Southern Fried Podcast is pleased to announce our newest show called Southern Talk. We merged two shows called Manners and Mannerisms 101 into this new show that we felt would better fit our interest in talking all things Southern. So join us for Southern Talk, where we still cover all those manners and customs that we are known for in the South. But now we can expand the topics and reach of this show in a show called Southern Talk with Rob and Dave. The Southern Fried Podcast now has its own store. Go to sfplive.com/store. These links are also found on Facebook and X and some of the other social streams. You will find shirts and hats and mugs and bags and all kinds of items with many different designs. These are just but a few of the more than 250 items that we have with different designs. We hope you'll come and shop, support the podcast. Every dollar that is paid will go towards keeping the podcast growing, and we thank you for your support. sfplive.com/store. Go shop today and get that favorite person in your life their Southern Fried Podcast item, and it'll help us advertise the podcast as you wear these things or take these things out into the public. We thank you for your support. If you have any questions, email us at southernfriedpodcast@yahoo.com. We'll be glad to answer. We're running some specials as well, 20, 25, and even 30% off in some cases. This will eliminate the mailing charges for sure. So go to sfplive.com/store for your Southern Fried Podcast items today. Remember, Christmas is just around the corner. Thank you.
Ha.
Speaking of the store, just got me the Southern Fried Podcast mug in. So love it. Love that logo. And we're still tweaking with some things on there and getting to what we want and everything. But I do like my mug. This just stays on the set. And we'll be drinking coffee. I got to wash it. It's just shipped in today. And we love it. So we're going to do those and Cornbread Nation and Mama Said and all those good things on those mugs. And so shirts, hats, all kinds of things. I was looking on there today, Rob, and I had forgotten that we have, I think we even got clothing for dogs, mouse pads. There's a lot of accessories. I didn't realize all that. You and Chris, the mad scientist, had put a lot of that together. I was on only the beginning of it, and I forgot some of the things we do have in there. So I was just in there rolling around. I said, okay, I didn't know that. And even stickers and some buttons, stuff like that. So
yeah,
there's so much. A
lot of people, my way of thinking is a lot of people buy stuff from your shops because they want to support you. Yeah. And some people don't. And I want to be able to get something. Yeah. You know, if it's a button, if it's a mouse pad, if it's a sticker, I don't, we appreciate all the support. And,
and that gives you some price breaks because some things, they're just going to be higher because they're a shirt or hat or whatever. Yeah. And I do have the hat as well. But we're going to get a few things in on the set, and
I'm going to be ordering.
We're going to try to get together and get some holiday stuff too.
Yes, and we're going to be doing some promotions like on our Facebook page and stuff like that too, and YouTube. It'll be just exclusive to those, and also for our ex people out there, we got to work up something special for you guys because we love y'all. Y'all keep us rocking and rolling. There's a heap of y'all come in here, and we're glad to see all
really,
of you.
really do. Yeah, we're going to try to do some. Maybe in the future soon, we may do some X only recording or live streams, and then the others will get it later. We want to kind of just show you our appreciation and come in just on X, and then we'll push it out. Not to push anybody away that's not on X, but we do want to do something special, and we'll announce it ahead of time and just we're
going to do something special across every stream, I'm sure, before.
We're going to do a YouTube like that, and we'll do Facebook like that. We'll do Rumble like that.
Or your opportunity will be coming.
Yes, it might be crazy,
but it's coming.
We might be talking about.
It might be Dress Dave for a day.
Well, or it might be your favorite subject to talk about, Rob.
What?
The cryptid.
You mean the Chupacabra Day?
The Chupacabra.
The Chupacabra.
By the way, Rob, you better watch out. When that storm came in, I'm going to tell you what, there's no telling what kind of critters has been blowed up your way. I did hear about an alligator that was walking down the street somewhere.
That'd be hilarious.
Way off course.
I was watching on Weather Channel, I think. I don't know if it was Weather Channel or not, but the lady was giving the interview, and she says to the cameraman, "Don't run me over there to the snake. I don't want anything." He looked down, there was a snake there on the ground. She didn't want nothing to do with the snake.
I don't blame her there. I don't want nothing to do with no snakes either, But with all the that's a good point. With all the flooding and everything, there's gonna be some critters out there and just hate it for people. I mean, there's nothing worse than a flooded home and a flooded church, and now you've got to take it back down and rebuild all that because it's destroyed. I mean, it's just messed up. So I have not heard a figure yet because it's going to take a few days to get it.
It's going to be huge.
What that damage is going to be, I would think, Rob, it's got to be in the billions. I just can't imagine it's not.
Yeah,
it's massive. I mean, across Florida. There's
Georgia,
at least 12, 15 states that were impacted. Yeah,
Virginia, Tennessee. Kick it on over. Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
And out in the Atlantic,
We're
there's
praying for
another
y'all,
one
guys.
brewing right now.
Yeah, guys, we're praying for y'all too. All y'all's. Hey, look, I dodged a bullet. That don't mean I'm thankful for that, but that don't
Yeah.
mean my heart don't go out to all you guys that are dealing with this. What I was afraid I was going to have to deal with, and do y'all, we're praying for you. Okay. Yeah, because this is big. Okay, Dave, something else that I really want to talk about tonight,
Go ahead.
and I want to get your opinion on this because this is big to me. All right. Yes, everybody should vote. Okay. And I firmly believe that. Okay. But educate yourself on what you're voting about. Learn both sides of it, for and against. Be an educated, smart, thinking voter. Now, I don't care which side you vote for. That's your business. But at least get the information so you can go in and make an informed vote. We want everybody to be an informed voter. I mean, how many times do you see somebody? Well, I don't even know who the rest of these jacklegs are. You know, I came in here to vote for president, and they just run some numbers vote
And
down there.
that happens a lot. That they do. And I'll tell you one of the things that I hate the most as a poll worker and assistant manager on election day is I hate it when somebody comes in and they're not supposed to. We have to remind them not to talk, but they'll say something like this: "Who we voting for again?"
Yeah,
They don't even know. They just were told by their spouse who to vote for, and that's the extent of their knowledge. Who we voting for again?
yeah.
And we have to remind them they can't talk. And the husband's over here because it's usually that way. The husband's shaking his head like, "Come on," and she's totally. And to me, this is so wrong to do your wife this way. Have those conversations at home, even if you're going to take his
So
advice or whatever. But they stand there and now they're really frustrated, Rob, and they're embarrassed because they don't know who to vote for. They maybe know two names and they don't know anything else, so they just go down there checking boxes. And I'm sure that's a real fun discussion out in the car after they leave, but that's a setup
yeah,
for
but
failure right there. I mean, come on, we got to be a little bit. That's why I say to print that sample ballot off and have them that in front of them that they're allowed to pull out in the voting booth and just make it easy, you know?
okay. Let me throw this thought out there for you. This ought to scare the snot out of you. All right, we got the
That's a
presidential
bad
election.
thought. I don't want snot coming out of me, Rob. I mean,
Oh,
come
here
on.
we go. Here we go. You ready for this? You have more people come out and vote for a presidential election than you do a local election, right?
That's right. Unless it's a really hotly contested something local big, you're
Right.
absolutely correct.
So they come out. They've only researched how many of those people have only researched the president on that, which presidential candidate. They're only interested in voting for the president. They don't give a snot again about the rest of the ballot. All they care about is voting for the president. And then they go down and they just throw vote, 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 vote. You
Well,
know?
they'll do that, or they won't vote for the other offices at all, which they have a right to do, and so
Right.
those just get left blank. By the way, if you will look at and it's just something as I break down the numbers after an election, I just look. It's all online. You can go look at it, and if you look at you can tell by how many voted in a precinct or a county or whatever by the one that got the most. That'll be your full counting, probably president. You'll have how many ever hundreds or thousands that is. Uh, but if you look down ballot, you'll notice it falls off, and that's where people, because they either didn't like their choices or they just didn't know, they didn't vote, and so those numbers will be a lot less. They just
Well,
come in, vote for the president, and then print it, walk out, or put in the
I'll be
scanner.
perfectly honest. I don't think I've ever voted for an incumbent that wasn't running against somebody. If they were just nobody against them, they're going to vote for themselves.
Yeah, they're
But
in.
I'm,
That's all they got to do is vote for themselves. That's right.
so I don't really see a need in voting for somebody that's not running against somebody.
I think people that vote in that, they just want to show them that they support them. That's their, they
That's
voted
their right.
anyway. But
Yeah.
the people that don't want them, they'll usually skip that. You're right, and they'll skip that. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you where the real jam up comes, and this is just from stuff and it is critically important. But I'll tell you where they're usually pretty good through the senators and a lot of that. They're kind of ready for that. But the two areas that I hear the most is judges, school boards, maybe, and the state appeals court. The judges for that, they don't have a clue who those people are, and they'll say it. I don't even know who those people are. We have to go. Oh, you can't talk.
And school board's got to be one of the most important things that you can
Critically
do.
important. Critically,
I mean,
know
this is
who those people are.
directly affects your children. And
It
I
goes
mean,
back. It goes back, Rob. What we were talking about with Stephanie Harity, who's running for District 2 down there in Decatur County, Georgia. What we talked about was the same people running, and all on the different boards and stuff. Because there's a lot of that. If you'll just follow the dots and pay attention, you'll find out where your power source is in your county or city or whatever. You'll see the same names, or it's the wife of this person. I mean, it runs among the few. And we got to break that up. We don't need that kind of thing. And that's what gives small cities a bad name sometimes. Is it's the good old boy system, they say, and it's the same people in there controlling everything. And it is hard for a person who's just started running to get their feet kind of underneath them, because they're going against a group of people that's very powerful in their county or their city.
Yeah. And I'm not from Decatur County. Okay. I shop there sometimes.
Yeah. Is the Walmart in Decatur County?
Yes, it is.
I figured.
Well, we have to drive 20, 30 minutes to get there. So,
Rob, when I come down there, you's got to go to that Decatur County Walmart, and we both need to get on the smart carts and have a race.
We can do it.
We can do it.
They'll throw us out, but we can do it. I'll tell you another one we could go to. I know another one. We can ride over to Dothan, Alabama, and get on. They expect it there. I'm sorry, I'm picking on Alabama.
Well, you know what, Rob? This one time, I'm gonna let you fly. Dogs and Bama play Saturday night at 7:30. So go Dogs. Yes. We're not disparaging the Alabama Crimson Tide, but come on.
Yeah. But how important is it, especially in this day and age? I mean, think about all these kids that are out there in college now. And all they're worried about are these big issues. They're worried about the president. Oh my goodness. And she, they, him, it, here boy, whatever that you use for your pronoun. That's what they care about. They don't care about anything local in their lives. Oh, that's not important. That's not important to me. All right. And I'm going to cover, I was going to do that. All right. Have we beat that rabbit enough?
Well, maybe I would just say one of the things you just throwed out there without going too deep in the weeds, and I'll just say I totally ignore that when a question is asked, what's my pronouns? I just ignore it, because I think it's kind of ridiculous to even answer, so I just leave it alone. But I was thinking about this. This is kind of funny, and I've experienced a little bit lately, is when people tell you, this is so funny to me, Rob. This is funny. When people tell you, let's say you're the conservative, and let's say it's a liberal or whatever, or they're opposite of you, and they say, well, that's not true. And you say, well, okay, why is it not true what either President Trump said or what I just said? And they say, well, they've proved that false. Who's they?
Yeah.
Who is they? Is it the media that we have so much problem with? The media is the one that's proved it. That what media? I mean, and when you
start easy. We're media now.
We are media. I'm not. I'm saying my next quote was going to be was what media. But when you ask questions, they get real defensive. Well, that's already been debunked. I hear this all the time. People, oh, that's already been debunked. That's not true. And you start asking questions, and they get real defensive, and they get mad and move on to something else. I don't have to get mad if I feel passionate about something and I've researched it myself. By the way, I can't be passionate about something I haven't researched myself. I can't. It's like the Bible. How can you be passionate about the Word of God if you have not read the Bible?
Right.
Does that not kind of go against the grain? I mean, you got to know what's in the Bible to be passionate about it. You got to know
Yeah.
what you're talking about a little bit. Yeah, you may. I always suggest go to multiple sources of people that you trust, be they media, academia, or whoever. Just some good old people that do a lot of investigative reporting and source documents. Get source documents because they're going to speak the truth, and
Mhm.
then you let people know, well, that was a lie. That's not true, or it is truth, or whatever. But it's just funny. It's almost like the because I said so defense. Because I said it's not true.
Oh,
And by the way, Rob, me and you were never good with that line of defense because I say
no.
so. Well, who are you? I mean,
Yeah. I think
if,
we have.
if that if that's the scales of justice, I got the same scale. I mean, because I said so.
Yeah.
We always
Yeah.
hated it when our parents said it because I
Oh, yeah.
said so.
But we'll spout it now. If somebody spouts it at us, they'll say, well, that's not true. Why is that not true? Because I said so. Well,
But it just cracks me up when they say, "Well, they've already proved that wrong or debunked that or they that." Well, who's they?
yeah. Yeah.
Show me the what's the saying you hear nowadays? Show me the receipts.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Let me read it for myself. I'm a big boy. I can read. I might need
Mhm.
help on some words, like
Chupacabra, Dave.
Chuka,
Chupacabra.
always mispronouncing and by the way, I still say it Colquitt. I did say Colquitt
Don't do
last
it.
night. I
Jeannie's
did
going to
say
come back on you. She done told
I
you they no
know.
coal and coal.
I said Colquitt last night, or this
Okay.
morning too. I said
Okay.
Colquitt. Did you ever find out if that lady was county or city that hit the tree?
I never heard.
I haven't either. I was going to look that back up, and I'm
I
gonna have
think
to
it. I
research
think
that.
it was probably over in Moultrie though,
Okay,
because I hadn't heard anything about anybody like that around here. And this is a small county, small town. I think I'd have heard something. I really do.
Moultrie.
Moultrie. Yeah, it's a little
That
bigger town,
sounds a good southern sounding
and that's more
area.
west of us too.
Moultrie.
Moultrie. Yeah.
Was that
Uh,
where Herschel Walker was from? I'm going off the top of my head. Was he Moultrie?
I don't think
No, I
so.
think he was somewhere else. But there was some good players come
Maybe.
out of Moultrie.
Yeah.
They some old boys. They fed them good. I mean, when they got to Georgia, they were big and fast and strong, and
Mhm.
they took care of business on the football field. We got South Georgia's got some really good, tough players. Oh my goodness.
How many of us come out of Valdosta?
Well, I remember the great Jesse Tuggle, the hammer, played for the Falcons. He came out of Valdosta. I think it was Valdosta State.
Hmm.
Great player,
Yeah.
great guy. Well, not just a great player, a great human being, like him.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So I got one more thing that I would like to discuss.
Okay.
And as a preacher, I already know where you stand on this subject. I know you're in agreement on with me on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because I know I happen to know for a fact that we see eye to eye on this topic. But it's become a major topic.
We can't see eye to eye because I'm taller than you. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in
Well,
there.
right now on this screen, we are eye to eye. Actually, I'm a little taller than you
Yeah,
because
you're a little taller than me.
I let my chair up and I'm sitting up straight because I'm fixing to jump up on
You
myself.
are taller on the screen. That
I am.
Georgia hat's looking good coming
Look.
through. Well,
Mm,
don't do that, but
okay.
go ahead with your thought before I throw you off here.
Yeah. All right. This is a major topic and it's a major talking point.
Major.
Ready?
I'm ready. Ready, Freddy.
Abortion. Okay. Now, wait a
Yeah.
minute. Wait a minute. I do not think that abortion is an acceptable form of birth control. And that is, to me, what it's being used for. Now, if you have been raped, if you are a victim of incest, if the child is dead, if it's a danger to the mother, that is your decision to make. I think that in those cases, that is your decision to make. On the rape thing, I am going to put this out there. That child did nothing wrong, and that is a child. That child did nothing wrong. If you don't want the child, you could give it up for adoption. That option is there. But on those four, because that's going to be the 4 sticking points right there. Okay. Now, it is not, should not be a form of birth control. If you are responsible enough to have sex, if you are responsible enough to be in charge of your own actions, if you are responsible enough to be in a relationship, then you ought to be responsible enough to either to apply birth control beforehand, not after. Anything you want to add to that? Or let's expand on this a little bit because this has got to be a big issue. All right.
Well,
And these people that are, huh?
no, go ahead.
These people that are out here that are making this the issue when they can control it beforehand and it not even be an issue and not even have to bring up the killing of a child. These people that are doing that don't have the common sense to fix it beforehand are voting. What the heck? You know, come on. I'll step back off my soapbox now. I'll let you expand on that.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, and we wouldn't have time and even the rest of the night to cover all of it. But I would just say I've been covering this on the Sunday night, the news desk, the SFP news desk. We talked about this, and I'll take this from different levels. From a political standpoint, in the presidential election, we knew this was going to be used as one of the major talking points because it's a divider, and they're trying to steal away female vote from former President Trump, paint him up as the evil hater of women and healthcare and women's healthcare and all that. And of course, you got to pay attention to the terminology that's used as well. So in our country, there's a lot of people that say, well, a man shouldn't even have an opinion here. He can't have children. And so he needs to keep his mouth shut. And I don't ascribe to that we can't. I mean, I'm an American. I can talk about whatever I want to talk about and have an opinion. So it is a political weapon. I'll just say that. There are those who use it as a political weapon. The stories they bring up are real stories, and certainly my heart goes out to those people who have experienced trauma and all those things. And I will say there is a fear because of the changes that occurred. I'm pro-life. Everybody knows I'm pro-life. The changes that have occurred in some of the states, some of the doctors are afraid to treat even if it's permitted by the law. Whether that's on purpose to try to push the point, or I think there are many of them who are just afraid they're going to lose their medical license in some states. Some states it's not a question because they can do, I ain't gonna say whatever they want, but the laws are much more lenient. Me and Chickbait was having a deep discussion about this the other night off camera, and I'll leave that discussion private because it was between us. By the way, Chickbait, for those that don't know, she has her own channel, True Crime Chickbait, Miss Juliet, and she comes into our channel sometimes and comes on screen. And we're great. We've become great friends. But there is some differences that some things we disagree on. But I listened to her and she listened to me, and we have mutual respect. And I think it's what we can have. So first of all, the abortion issue has been for decades a battering ram to use to just beat somebody down with it in a political arena to win elections. So it is that. Number two, there are those who are going to, say it's a woman's right to choose, and what does a man have any say so in it? There's that part of it. But I was going to say in those states where it is tightened up and there are much more protections, the 6 week, the heartbeat bill, and all those things. I think Georgia has heartbeats. Some states have the 6 week or whatever it is. But in all those, there may be some tweaks that need to be made in the cases of miscarriages and stuff, Rob, because those are considered terminations as well. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a healthcare professional, but I know there are probably some tweaks need to be made just to protect doctors if they got to care for that person like that. Again, that's just we need to look at the thing. President Trump does not want to even address the issue. He knows it. He said it out loud. He came right out and said it out loud and he said it basically at the debate. He said he said a president can't get elected if he takes a strong stand on abortion. He doesn't want to be there. He's more of a centrist in this, and I think he's okay with, of course, pushing it back to the states. He stays on that because he knows he's trying to keep them from really talking to him about how he feels about it, because he doesn't want to lose his base. He doesn't want to lose people that are, pro-life. But
Right.
he's more of a centrist in this. He's much more middle of the road, and he wants some protections there. I do believe that, but he's trying to cater to different people and different votes. So he runs from that. It's going to be used a lot in the last 40 days or whatever it is until election day. He's going to run from that a lot, and he doesn't like it. They know that, and they're going to push that. So you have the political part. You have varying laws and rules in various states. Of course, at the debate, it came up about partial birth abortion. There was so much more the president could have said there, and he
Yeah.
kind of let them win that battle, and he didn't have to. It's an ugly procedure, and they were trying to say, well, it's not legal, that don't happen. And I've had this conversation with people. There's people that actually believe that there's never been any, misrepresentation of that, or and just the horrid nature of what a partial birth abortion is. If the president had just went down that road, he would have scored a lot of points. Although they'd have been very angry, he could do that. But
Yeah.
most politicians are probably going to side within those exceptions that you mentioned. They're going to want to include those and still be pro-life because they want that. As a individual and as a preacher and a Christian and whatever, I'm pro-life. It's, as you said, it's not the child's fault, and I don't know a good
Right.
excuse. And I've always said it like this, and I don't want to make anybody mad, but it's really amazing to me that in America today, that we have this discussion about this. Uh, and if you flip the story, if you told a scenario, Rob, and you didn't tell that it was a human being, they thought it was, and you were talking about one of your kittens,
Yeah.
and you did to that kitten or had done to that kitten what they want to be done to unborn children,
Yeah.
you would go to jail, and people would applaud that you go to jail.
Yeah.
Somehow we're mixed up in the America where we fully defend the right of the animal and not the right of the human inside the womb. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
pro-life. I don't, I don't hate people who feel another way. We have that
No.
right as Americans to think and vote and feel however we want about an issue. That's how I feel about it. I believe God just
Okay. Why?
he's a life giver, and
Yeah.
I just think that the Bible says he knows the number of the hairs on your head. Rob, you don't have any to count, but he
Mm.
knows your name. He knows you before you were formed in your mother's womb, and all those things it talks about. Life is very precious, and
Yeah.
I don't believe in this almost like a World War II era talk where now people are talking about going in and, if they determine a child has disabilities and using that as the excuse to terminate. Those
Oh,
special
yeah.
kids are such a blessing to us, Rob.
Mhm.
I've been around so many children that have Down syndrome and other disabilities. Well, like my son, would there not
Exactly.
have been those that thought that he should have been aborted
Well, that
because of his
state lady
learning
didn't even want him to
disabilities?
be educated. She probably would have been all for it.
Absolutely. She wanted to put him in a federal program, and all she would talk about was how much money was going to be given to the school. And
Mhm.
if he'd went that federal program, he wouldn't have learned nothing.
Yeah.
Honestly, he wouldn't have learned anything.
No.
But
Okay. But
anyway,
anyway,
that's where
we're
I'm at.
getting
There's
off
a lot
the
to unpack there. But
we're getting off where I was at though. What gives these people the right, like you said, they care more about what happens in an animal's body than they do in a human's body. But the human has the ability to make sure it doesn't happen to start with. But they choose to ignore that ability.
well,
They ignore, and because
except for
of
the ancestral
their
right,
actions,
that wouldn't be their. They didn't
be-
choose that, So we need to say that
huh?
those who have been raped or had,
No, 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 they didn't choose it. But what I'm
yeah,
talking about is people that
I know.
go out and
Just want
make
to
a
make sure we're
mistake
being clear
and
about that.
have unprotected sex and have sex where you're not on the pill, you're not, but you're doing all these risky behaviors, and you get pregnant, and now you want an abortion. Okay, you could have done something before you got pregnant. Now, I know birth control is not 100% effective. Okay, but there's so many different kinds out there. At least try. You know, how many people aren't even trying because they don't want to, because it's too much trouble. But now, because of your actions or non-actions, this baby is going to pay the price.
Well,
I, I've got
going back to
issues.
the animal side, we can't even get them to spay or neuter their dogs and cats, and so you're
Mm.
asking a lot when they can't even do that, right?
It's sad, Dave. It's sad.
I
And
know.
these are the same people that are going to get up there and preach at me about, well, you can't be pro-life. I mean, it's just not. Yeah, I can. You can be
Yeah,
responsible.
I'm always going to be pro-life, and
I can tell them you can be a
I,
responsible human being and do something about it beforehand. You know,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. So what politically, they take these issues and they drive a wedge in between Americans, and we'll never be united in America on this issue. It's always going to be those who are for and those who are against, and
you're
uh,
taking
and
away my choice.
so
Well, you're taking away that child's choice as well.
yeah, they didn't get a choice.
No. Oh, it's just a clump of cells. That's all anybody is. I'm a clump of cells. You're a clump of cells. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a clump of cells. We're all a clump of cells. That's what we are. You know, and that baby is still a baby. You know, if you can
Yeah,
do surgery, they do prenatal surgery, Dave. That's
sure.
a thing. If it's not alive, why are you doing surgery on it? How do you know it needs surgery? Come on. There's some common
Well,
sense here
this is
somewhere.
one of those issues where you're never going to convince. I mean, the only one that can, I think, really change the opinion of those who are for that would be God, and you just
Yeah.
can't change their opinion. Your, you can state facts, you can state the appeal of it as we've done here tonight, and you're going to get heavy resistance. They're never going to see that. So we have to pray for hearts. We have to pray
Yeah.
for those, and then just on the other side is people do make mistakes. We're humans and we make mistakes.
Yeah.
We do make mistakes, lots of mistakes. I'll raise my hand. I've made a lot of mistakes,
Yeah.
and I look back and I there's parts that I wish I'd acted a whole lot better. And so people
Mhm.
do they do things they shouldn't. And I hate the argument. I always hate the argument. And it just kills me that somebody would say this to me. I remember one of the first times I ever had with a guy I really respected and everything, but he more tended to be pro-abortion. And I'll never forget what he said he said, wouldn't it be better for that child to be terminated now than to grow up a life of neglect and abuse and da 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 da. And I said, well, if I said, first of all, you didn't give the child a choice, you just took their life.
Yeah.
And secondly, what's your guarantee that that was going to be the outcome from that child?
Yeah.
Just because of what that person was now, you're going ahead and saying that you can guarantee that they're going to live a life like that. And even if they did, does that say they can't overcome that and become great in this great land called America and do great things? I mean, I would say most, but it's a significant number of Americans all came from rough backgrounds. We've
Yeah.
all got a story. We've all got scars.
Yeah.
You know,
That's part of growing up.
but I understood what he was trying to say. On one point, it was almost like a compassion. But I said, you're talking about termination, man. You're talking about murder. You're talking about death, and you're not even giving that child a chance to become what they can be. How do you know that child's not going to change the world? How do you know they're not going to be the one to come up with a great, medical invention or something? Anyway,
Absolutely. I heard.
I'm not going to
I
change
heard.
my opinion about being pro-life. I can see let me just say this. Sometimes politicians are their own worst enemy because they are educated sometimes and they say dumb stuff.
Yeah.
and they need to become better educated. And there's some on both sides on this one, brother. They
Yes.
some got the R in front of their name. They talk dumb as long as the day is, and it
Yeah.
just drives me crazy. Quit listening to the talking points of somebody that you've listened to. Get in there and get some real data, some real knowledge, and talk like you got some sense. And don't try to be don't try to act like you know everything about an issue, because nobody knows everything about an issue. Get around some people with some wisdom that can
Hmm.
counsel with you, and at least bounce ideas off of before you get in
Yeah.
front of a camera or you go on one of the social medias and you say something that is dumb. And sometimes politicians are just dumb,
Hmm.
and they say dumb things, and it's really hard to defend it when they get up and say something dumb like that. And it makes it harder for us who are trying to rally support for an issue for a politician. They get up and say something dumb, and then the others go, "See, what an idiot you're voting for."
Yeah. And see, to me,
Welcome
it's kind of
to
like,
America, the land of idiots. Sometimes,
and
and
see,
it's true. We look so dumb around the world sometimes. They've
yeah,
got to be watching our these political things, the uh, little social media videos that are floating on every social media stream. There's got to be some Arabs sitting around going, "Oh, this is great television. I love laughing at the Americans," because
yeah.
we look so dumb sometimes. I mean, come on.
You
Oh,
know, it's
drives me
kind of like
crazy.
for me. For me, it's kind of like the armchair quarterback. You know, well, look at that idiot right there. Why didn't he throw the ball? He could have just threw it out about what, or he was out of the pocket. He could have just grounded it. He could have done this, or that he missed the block. Oh my gosh! Oh, that was a horrible penalty. You know, and we're sitting back and we're watching our politicians. Why did he say that? Well, he shouldn't have said that. Oh, look how he's looking at her over there. Oh my gosh, they signed a bill into law. Oh, he did. He vetoed it. What in the world? We make great armchair quarterbacks. And but you know what? If we took as much enthusiasm to our voting as we did of our criticism, we might could affect change. That'd be horrible.
I was at a town hall a couple years ago. Might have not even been 2 full years ago, but probably good that long, maybe three. I don't know. And it's a well known member of Congress, well known, sometimes controversial, Republican. I was at the town hall, and they were going all out. They're updating the constituency, and they do these, and I appreciate they
Yeah,
doing them. I like going. I've been to two or three just for
yeah,
that one member of Congress. And I remember this is back before Elon had gotten a hold of Twitter, and so maybe go back 4 years, and of course became X. And at that time, you remember they were kicking a lot of conservatives off of Twitter. They're just
yeah.
kicking, they're just striking their account and they're out. And I remember I had a Twitter account. I've had a Twitter account for a long, long time. I mean, a long time I didn't even use it. And I really did. And there's certain aspects of it I really liked. Even during that time, it made me mad what was going on, but I still liked the access that I had to a lot of people that I wanted to follow. And so I was at this town hall, and I'm sitting in the back. I didn't really want to get up near the front. That was the raw corner, cheerleader corner. And
Hmm.
and I just really wanted to listen to what they had to say. I didn't come to I did clap a few times when there was a couple of good points I had, and it was a good town hall. But one of the things that she asked the crowd, and I just said she, so you probably figured it out, was who still has a Twitter account here, and and I thought, what, who cares? I mean, who,
Hmm.
who still has this? Shows me, I really, that's very small on my list of things that I want from a member of Congress to be really concerned about. I really don't. I mean, I care if there's people being stricken and all that. I still do. Some people accuse Elon of doing that sometimes, his people or his algorithms or whatever. I'm not saying it's not, that point's not important, but for a member of Congress, I was thinking, we got so many issues going on here right now. I mean, this is
Yeah,
so many issues, and this was like one of the big things. I'm like, come on, let's move on. It was, I felt like it was a cheerlead moment. It's an
yeah,
amen moment where somebody go, amen. That's what I say. It was. it was one of those points to look strong and good. And I'm standing up to them and say, "Amen," because
Yeah.
honestly, they were kind of pigeonholed because they had been put in a box, so to speak, because they couldn't get on any committees. And so anyway, I go to your town halls, go see those things, and kind of get the flavor of what's going on. Um, this last time that I went to one was a few months ago. It was back during right before the primaries. I mean, right before the primaries. And the big talk in that town hall was about the funding to Ukraine and stuff like that. So, I mean, I get it. And that was important issues. And so it was
Yeah.
really good. I felt like the messaging got cleaned up a little bit from the first one I went to, or the second one, whatever it was, until the last one I went to. It did get a little bit better. There was one thing that come up in it, and it fell flat. It really fell flat. I read the room much better than they did. And I was sitting in the back again, and they had one of those amen moments, we talk about, and they didn't get an amen. It was
Yeah.
awkward silence. They was expecting, cheerlead, cap, way to go. And everybody sat there and just kind of looked around. And I read it was they weren't against that person. They just didn't want to hear about that crap anymore. They wanted to hear about those things are important to them, like gas prices, energy
Food
costs,
prices.
food prices, security, the border. And they did talk on those things, but that was one of those they mixed in to figure I'll get a big cheer here, and it fell flat. And that room was packed. I mean, packed. I think there was one lady sitting close to me and she clapped, but I think it just because she loved that person. Yay, yay, what a great job. And everybody, a couple people looked at her like, seriously? It fell flat. It's like a comedian standing for the crowd and they throw a new joke out. And it's like, this is going to be great. And the room looks at it, it's crickets, and they're like, ooh, okay, well, let me go make fun of
Move
somebody.
on to something else here. In the background, you hear wah, wah, wah.
That's exactly what I heard. I mean, I was like, ooh, that fell flat. That was a thud. You could see the staff look at each other. They didn't turn their heads, but you could see their eyes move like, ooh, move on, move on.
Move on.
Moving right along. If nothing
man.
else, politics is fun because we really can
Oh, yeah.
laugh at a lot of stuff that's going on. I know it gets ugly and there's a lot of serious issues, but boy, we can have some fun and talk about some stuff. And hey, I've said I support President Trump, but sometimes he's been guilty of kind of getting in those amen moments. He's trying to go for he did that during the debate. And
Yeah.
a couple of them kind of fell flat, and he moved on. I think he realized, oh, okay, that he had no crowd there, but you could almost feel it, like, it just didn't go anywhere. It was like,
Yeah.
man, maybe the delivery's wrong. A good comedian knows how to have their timing on jokes is everything, right?
Oh, yeah. Timing
It's
is
it's important how you roll out something. So it may have been his timing was just a little off. It might have been great at another time, but it was just out of order and out of balance. And I like the timing on it. If you time it just right, it's great.
you know what I would have loved to have seen Trump do? At some point in time during the debate, just go, that cackle that she does. If someone could have taught him how to do that and shown her how creepy that is, that would have been amazing.
Well, I think it would have not been good for him to do it. But would have been better if he could have just got her to do it, and then he could just point at her and said, "See,
is that really what you want?"
That's what you do. This is that what you want? You want 4 years of that? That'd been great. You want 4 years of that?
Did you
Okay.
Did you get the thing I sent you of the guy doing the imitation of Kamala?
Oh, he was funny. That
was hilarious.
He nailed it.
On day one, we're going to invest the money to learn how to get the spaghetti sauce out of the Tupperware. It would have gone, and then, yes. Oh, it was.
Yeah, he had it down to a T. He really did.
As you do.
It was great. Oh man, I'm looking forward to the presidential debate.
That should be interesting.
This I think could be the better debate. I really do.
This could be hilarious.
Does JD make Walls cry? Because I kind of think
I think he can. That's going to
I
be
think
awesome.
Laws wants to cry. I think he's that guy, and I
Yeah.
think JD wants to make him cry.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, he's like him. I bet you JD can do it because him and Chuck Norris have some things in common.
Cool. Well, true. Yeah.
And Chuck's ornery. Chuck is ornery. JD Vance is ornery. Tim
Yeah.
Wants ain't gonna know what ran over him. I bet you there was a certain Deadpool movie where he was going along and the guy was in front of him and he's out there on a Zamboni going to run over him. And he's laughing at him, says, you're going to be killed by being run over by a Zamboni, going all of the speed of smell. And that's what's going to happen in this debate.
Could be. It'll be, of course, they're all doing their practicing and whatever. And it'll be, of course, it's, what is it, CBS that's doing this one. And David Muir's. Maybe I've got that wrong. I looked it up. I wanted all the data points, but that is Tuesday night, I think. Next Tuesday night, 9:00.
They say, you should practice up. This is my impersonation of Tim Walz practicing up for his debate with JD Vance.
Okay. As he's telling about his military service in war zones. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grieve for this country. How bad it's been. January 6th. Oh
yeah.
But
so
she's come to deliver us. Oh,
yeah.
Let me wipe some more tears away.
Yeah.
I'm so honored she asked me to run. This is a moment in history. What was she kept saying? Turn the page. I mean,
we're not going back.
Yeah, we're not going back. And Biden's was always finish the job. I mean, no,
we're not going back.
We're not done. Come on.
How in the world? How is she the candidate of change? We've been doing this same crap for 3.5 years now. But she's the candidate of change. She's been in the White House. She's the vice president.
She is the candidate of change in one point, and that's how she changes her voice when she goes in front of different groups. She is the candidate of change. I still laugh.
Okay.
I said this in the news desk program 3 weeks ago or whatever it was. The thing that fell the flattest for her in that debate, and whoever wrote that in for her to put that up, because she didn't come up with it herself. None of it. Whoever wrote, I'll tell you, somebody got fired. You'll never hear about it, but somebody got fired. Whoever the person was that wrote that she needed to tell President Trump that his rallies were boring, that you're talking about the thud and the room going dead empty. I remember that was one of the few times Trump actually looked at her like, really? That's all you got?
Yeah.
People love my rallies. They line up early for them. I mean, it was almost like she threw him a softball of all softballs and said, here, go rip me, because right now that's what he did. I mean, it was horrible. Like, really? Boring?
Look,
no.
I know how else Kamala is the candidate of change.
Okay.
She changed Joe's Depends.
Oh, man. There's a meme out there today of her sitting like a little kid in front of Obama, and he's telling her, you just got to say this some more and say this some more, and we got these things going on, and we're going to win this thing. And her nose is getting longer, These people, we live in the age of the funny memes and gifs and all that. I love it. It's so funny, and they're on both sides. They're on both sides. There's just as many about Trump as there is her, but it is funny. I mean, you know what? It shows we can still laugh. And if we can still laugh and have humor, then we're going to be okay, because it does get hard and depressing and angry, and we're patriots and we want our country to be proud and doing great. And you hate it when you see people doing stupid stuff and evil stuff, but we can't lose who we are. We can't lose our center. We can't, just get to what we don't care. We have to care. And because we care, we get hurt and we get angry and we get frustrated. And so I would describe it as what I have as scripturally a righteous indignation. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm very angry about a lot of things, but I'm going to channel that anger in the right way into
Yeah.
activism and to being active and to being a good citizen and the best Christian that I can be. And well, I'm working on that. That's a work in progress, but and all of it is. By the way, next week, Rob, or is it's the week after? I think it's the week after. I've signed up to go to a Chamber of Commerce luncheon. They're going to be honoring
Oh,
first responders, and
there you
I'm
go.
going to do my best to get us some video and some interviews there and network a little bit in the county for the podcast. So I just
Good deal.
signed up for that today. It's a luncheon, and I'll be rubbing elbows with the rich and famous.
Oh, oh my goodness. Oh,
Do
here.
I have to hold my finger out a little bit? Like a little tea. Get my little Southern fried with the finger out.
Mhm. You can
I'm
do
just
it.
I'm just a poor boy. I was thinking today. I don't know what popped in my head, but I was thinking of the Beverly Hillbillies. You know what you what a great show. What a great show. Of course, all the elites would have laughed at us for that show. Oh yeah, that's the Southern people right there. But isn't it great that these people got all that money and went to Beverly Hills and they didn't lose who they were?
Yeah.
Because you know what? We got a bunch of politicians that get elected and they go to Washington and they stop being
They
who they
change.
were. They change. I thought about that today. I thought,
Yeah.
Granny's out there. She's got making her soap, and Ellie Mae's
Yeah.
got critters going on. Jethro's got all kinds of schemes and everything.
Yeah.
They never lost who they were, and
Mm.
they didn't care if anybody made fun of them.
No.
We got to be
No.
like that. Don't change who we are. Don't let the elitist, the leftist, and the socialist and communist. Don't let them pressure us into being who we're not. We know we're right. We know we're good. We know we love this country, and don't let those people
Yeah.
get us in a circle and try to they want to elevate it. It's like I said, right, we're not getting into it tonight, but this week we're going to get into this interview that them guys did down there with the primate farm in Bainbridge. That article made me so mad. It just to me it just spoke
Mm.
of how they look down their nose at us. Us
Yes.
us, us backwood
Well,
country bumpkins kind of people. Come on.
yeah. And I really believe that everybody should be who they are.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Transparency.
they should come from their heart and their mouth. Okay. Now, there are some people that when they go out and they go from place to place, they feel a need to change themselves to sound like or attempt to sound like the people that they're addressing
Oh
so
yeah.
they can connect with them. Look, that's not going to connect you to me. You talk up there, you get up there and you talk as redneck hillbilly crap as I do. I'm not going to vote for you. I'm not running for office. I'm laughing at y'all that are running for office or are trying to talk like me. Quit it. Quit. Stop it.
I want to tell you a quick story. I had, I had voted, and he got me mixed up, and he's retired now, but one of my senators, I had started pastoring a church. He didn't know me before, but I had voted for him, and I knew I had friends that were best friends with him, but he didn't know me. And I pastored a church. He could see the church from his house, and anyway, I kind of got hooked in with him by around these people, and we had went to. I mean, he'd had me down to Atlanta, or he had us down to Atlanta, and I just had this sense the whole time that he was sizing me up, and I just kind of felt like there was something there. I could never put my finger on it. It was like he was always trying to assure me that was this good, was I okay, or what did I think about that? It was almost like he thought that we were adversaries in a way, and I was like, I voted for you multiple times, and where's this coming from? Well, one day we went to his house. I'd never been to his house, and we went in. We were sitting there and sipping, sweet tea or whatever, and so he goes right to the heart of the matter. He says, preacher. He said, well, would it be a problem if you let me come over and address your congregation? And I said, no, we always welcome that, you know. we'd let any candidate come in, and if they wanted to, say something, to address the people about issues or whatever, and things are going on. I think we should be educated as Christians and all that. And he said, well, I appreciate that. I suspected him to go, well, thanks, that'd be great. But I noticed he had a little bit of a scowl, and he goes, well, I just want to ask you one more thing. He said, are you going to park my opponent's or put my opponent's campaign sign up in your churchyard like you've been doing every year or every time I've ran this year? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, that truck. He said, I can see the church from my deck. And he said, I look over there, and he said, you got that truck parked over there with that big old sign, and it's pointed right at my house. And I go out on my deck, and I can see my opponent's name up there. And I said, I have never done that. And we had this little bit of back and forth. And I said, whoa. I said, I don't know what happened before I came there, but you got me confused with somebody else. And he said, you haven't done that. And my buddy said, he said, no, I've been to that church many times. He's never done nothing like that. He votes for you. He's conservative, and he said, oh, so all that time, Rob, he thought that I was the guy that was, I'm going down to the Capitol and he's smoozing me and all that. And he thinks I'm going against him for his opponent and putting up in my church property and I wouldn't do that anyway. I wouldn't do that.
No.
And boy, when that balloon burst, he was like, oh, all this time I thought you were that guy. He said, I gotta be honest with you, I've been a little irked with you. And I said, well, I felt like something was going on. He said, well, would you put my sign up? I said, I'm not putting anybody's sign up. That's church property. I said, if you've got some literature you want to leave out, I'll not try to force it, but it'll be laying there. And if you'd like to come in and talk about the issues, because Christians, they're voters, they want to hear. And he never did, but we weren't big enough for. Yeah, they want to go to big places. I was small, but ain't it amazing how you get confused with other people and people think you're against them and you're not?
Well,
talk about a politician. By the way, he should just went over and come to church and talk to the pastor about it. They're still sitting over our stool about it, to be honest. I mean, a lot of times we could just talk these things out if we just sit down and talked. That's the problem. They don't sit down and talk.
Well, speaking of that, hey, y'all check out our interview with Miss Stephanie Harity.
Yes.
She's going to be running for County Commissioner, District 2, Decatur County. And y'all get out there and register. Y'all get registered to vote. Your vote's important, and it will count. Get out there and vote. Research. Look who your options are. Look at what they've done. Look at what they're willing to do. Y'all get out there and vote. And vote smart. Everybody, get informed on your issues. Look at the sample ballots. Vote smart or vote your heart. Vote your conscience. Don't vote like we tell you or nobody else. Vote like you want to vote. You vote yourself.
It's about a 40-minute interview, and it was great. And along the lines of what we were just saying, I really like. You don't hear this often.
Mm-hmm.
She said she didn't feel right about going in a church and talking about it, so she wouldn't be doing that. So I don't know that I've ever heard a politician say that, or a potential politician. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Mm-mm.
And I
there's still a lot of things that I respected, and I asked a couple of tough questions, made her think a minute, and I don't normally do that, but I was really wanting to hear the answer.
She pivoted real well. She
did. She backed up 10 and kicked that ball right through the uprights. I
give her a lot of credit. We give her a lot of credit for running, for being able to come, be willing to come on the podcast. She is running as a Democrat, and that's, we'll have anybody on. We're just glad you're coming on. We got Mitchell Horner. He'll be recording with us Sunday, Lord willing, Sunday afternoon. We'll release that as soon as it's ready. He's going to talk about state issues and stuff. And, we just got ignored there for a while, but we're starting to get them now, and we're happy about it, because I think because we knew or whatever. Who are them crazy guys? They're, what was the old Saturday Night Live? They're wild and crazy guys. Steve Martin Who was the other wild and crazy? But I know Steve Martin was
I
one of
don't
them.
remember who the other one was. Oh, what was it?
I'd have to be
I'm
Steve Martin
Franz.
because I got gray hair. You don't have any gray hair, so
I'm
except on your
Hans and
beard.
he's Franz. And we are here to pump
Nope.
you up.
What we do try to get some people pumped up on the front porch.
Yes. Hey,
Oh, by the
well,
way, I
listen.
don't know if real quick, serious business, and I thought about this earlier, and I sent, and I doubt they've gotten with you, Rob, with the storm and everything, but I sent ARA message on X to ask them if they're okay. I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming everything's okay, but I haven't
Yeah.
heard anything. I don't know if they were able to send you a pet of the week for the weekend
I don't know if they
because
did or
everything
not.
that's been going on. But we do want
Yeah.
to, we've ran their ad. We do want to recognize them and pray for all those that are taking care of animals. It's even more
Yes.
challenging now with what's happened. So they do a great job, but I want to make sure they was okay.
That's great, Cook. I'm
Them.
glad to hear about your uncle. Said his uncle's doing good down there in Florida. Sorry there, sir. I just wanted to.
No, that's good because I know he was talking about that Palacky or whatever he said. I can't remember what area he said, but I talked to my aunt on talked to my cousin today. They were all talking a little bit about and people that I've known. Yeah, it's just important that we check on those folks, make sure they're okay and everything. But over the weekend we will have a vet of the week. We're talking about expanding that. There's so many vets we want to honor, and so we appreciate you forwarding those on, not for the podcast, for the person,
Yeah.
the hero, the family who suffered loss because of that. And even though we're not in we completed our 22 days, Rob, we're still focused on getting the messaging out about veteran suicide. 22 baseline, it's more than that a day. And please go see the movie The Keeper.
Yes.
George Eshelman. Sorry, my brain wasn't working there for a second. George Eshelman's a movie about his journey on the AT, the Appalachian Trail, carrying all the
And let me
names.
throw one more thought out there with you out there. If you're a veteran or anybody and you have some issues that you need that are not right, that your mind's going places where it shouldn't go get help. Get help. Get help.
Yeah,
Use your mouth. Use your mouth. It's okay. We're not going to think you any less tough. We know you're tough. We know. But sometimes it's tough. It takes more strength to ask for help than it does to give it. Ask. Open your mouth. People are opening their hearts. You've got to do your part.
You know, on that note, this is a critical time, and we're worried about this vacuum of leadership and who's leading. The world is blowing up. It seems like the Middle East is aflame. Russia, Ukraine, and China's. They're saying within 3 years we're going to be at war with China, and they're building up the Navy and getting it all prepared for that. I mean, I don't know, but Rob, it's ugly. It's really, really ugly right now. And I just wish they would. You remember back in and I said this on the news desk, but you remember back when they ran that commercial about Hillary? Who do you want answering the phone at 3 a.m. or whatever? You know, man, they need to do that about Kamala. They need to have an ad about her picking up the phone and doing word salad in the phone as the hotlines ringing about trouble blowing, the Middle East or Russia's. Israel's under attack from 5 nations and whatever else is going on, and she starts cackling, because she don't know what to say. And they need to run that ad. That'd be a great ad. Yeah, they could have fun with that.
Well, I grew up middle class.
That was the dumbest opening remark of a debate ever.
And middle class, we said, drop a nuke, as you do, but we're not going back. And I didn't have 6 bankruptcies. Good night.
Who was the guy, the entertainer that tried to act middle class, poor, but was middle class? Was that Vanilla Ice? Was that the one that he tried to portray himself as inner city?
I don't know.
But he was really raised middle class. What is it about elitist? And Biden does this all the time when he talks about he always has that story because you just can't believe any of it. Where he was at this. It goes back to where we were talking about him landing in a hot zone. His is
Yeah.
always corn pop, and I was down there with all the the inner city folks, and I walked here and I did that with them, and we stood against racism, and I've did it again. He always brings up Scranton. I've did it in Scranton, and I'll do it again. And everybody goes, we don't remember him doing that. We don't have any history of him doing that. I mean, it's like he dreams that up. It's almost like they put some serum in him and said, you will say this, you will continue to say it. Because I don't believe one word out of his mouth when it comes to that. I don't. I've never believed that. I think it just sounds good. And let's be honest, it's photo ops. Even if they did march, it's photo ops. They don't really care. They don't care. Good grief. But they always got to have them a story. Like, oh, I know, I remember I dealt with that issue when I was, in over there and living in Scranton or wherever,
Yeah.
And I stood up for them now then, and I'll stand up for them now. By the way, I remember Biden running when he was running in 20. He had something he said a lot. You said it earlier, I think tonight. The buck stops here. He said that a lot. Well, the buck didn't stop with him. He never handled it. He never took ownership of any of those things.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Biden to come out one day and say, "Hey, I fought and died for you people in Vietnam."
I was there at the Tet Offensive. It was a hot zone.
3 times. I died 3 times.
Yeah, I took that hill, and I'll take it again.
Dead or alive, I'll take that hill.
Peter Jennings were our. We landed.
Where's Kamala?
We thought we would crash.
Where's Kamala? I need that candidate of change. Come here, my depends are messed up.
Oh my God, John Kerry. Oh, that's another one. Oh, good grief.
Right.
I think Walls. That's how his name. I'll say Waltz.
I'm telling you.
He wants to cry.
He is crying this week. He's gonna cry. I guarantee you. JD Vance is gonna make him cry. It's gonna be hilarious. If y'all don't think that's gonna be a hilarious debate, I promise you. I promise you. I don't see how there's any way that Waltz is getting off that stage without just squall bagging. I mean, just he called me names. You can't say that about me. I'm the governor of Minnesota. You can't talk to me like that.
JDB ever go? It's going to be okay, but it's going to be okay. No, just a few more days, you can go back to your governor chair.
I swear to God, I hope he wears his eye patch. I hope he wears his eye patch to this one. And then you look over and go, "Hey, it's okay. I got my eye on you." That would be freaking hilarious.
Well, I hope they give them some decent questions, not those crazy ones they tried to throw out there and then fact check in the moment on President Trump.
Let them throw the crazies at him. It'll be fine. He ain't even going to be answering them. He's going to be making Waltz cry. It don't matter what questions they ask. He's got one job. And let me tell you, he's up for it. Waltz is crying.
He's getting mean to me.
Yeah, okay. It's going to be hilarious. Why would Waltz would they agree to do an interview with Vance? Vance don't care. I mean, he cares about the country. He don't give a flip about Waltz. He's going to go up there. You hadn't seen a shellacking.
Do you remember? I don't know if you saw it, but that interview that he did with I forget who the one that was questioned was, but it's the one where Kamala's like parked right there beside him and stared at him the whole time. Did you see the fear in her face on his answers? It's like, oh my gosh, I hope One, I don't even know half the time she even knew what he was talking about. But two was she had that look like, oh no, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't cry.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're almost done. Come on. Don't blow it. I mean, she had concern the whole time. You know, you could just see it. She was worried about it. You know, like, what's this guy going to say? I mean, he's already messed up about his military service. Now, don't blow it again, buddy.
And he's going to get up there with a vet too, somebody who did serve. You know,
I was in a war zone, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, that's like John Kerry claiming he was at the front of the column and stop and rescue and fight. You know, this guy's just such a sorry individual. I still laugh at Don Imus. Please tell him to shut up. We're losing the election every time he opens his mouth. Well, every time Walls cries, they're going to be, we're losing the election. Tell him to dry it up. Man up.
They're going to ask Vance something like, so what is Trump's how are you going to be assisting President Trump with the economy? Let's see if I can do this. Hey, boss, you're ugly and your mama dresses you funny. You don't call me names.
They have the perfect response for all that.
I wouldn't
drill, baby, drill. I mean, that resonates. It's great. It's catchy.
Yeah.
People get it. Everybody gets that. And they can't stand it. I love it when President Trump throws that out there. It's almost like he has great timing on this. It's almost like he doesn't have it out there and you're waiting on it. And it's almost like just before they move on to the next question and they cut the mic off. I mean, because they want to catch that mic. They want to shut him up. Yeah. So it's like, time's up. They got the little lights going off. He was watching them. And right before they cut that mic, drill, baby, drill. You can see him just cringe like, oh, he got it in. They called back on a break and said, will you tell them to cut that mic a little sooner? He wasn't supposed to get that out. Drill, baby, drill. They cringe every time he calls it. He says, I'll end that war today. Oh, really? Yeah. I'll call him up and tell him. You end it right now. Or they'll be repaving your home.
Yeah.
It won't be there no more. Ronald Reagan was great at that. I mean, message sending was great. He put some missiles right in Gaddafi's.
Yes.
Yeah, his palace, and then flew sorties over his city, and they caved. It's like, we'll level your country. Mm-hmm. We'll level it. Won't be nothing left.
Yep.
Make my day. It was a make my day kind of point. And okay, they don't feel that out of Biden. It's like he's going for another ice cream. Let's see if we can get a $3 billion out of him.
Wait. Kamala's going to be the vice president of change now. His depends are full. Now let's go.
It just amazes me how she has somehow now become the foreign affairs expert when all she did was butcher foreign affairs. She couldn't even handle press conferences, but now she's supposedly going to handle, in her expert way, foreign issues. Come on.
She couldn't even handle building a fence or a wall.
A wall.
What's she going to do? She can't even build a wall. She's been the border czar for the last 3.5 years.
I never thought about it. Couldn't we say that? Like, one of Ronald Reagan's, I mean, legendary. We talked about 1,000 years from now is, Mr. President, tear down that wall. And now we've got the party that stands down there and they say that about our wall. Tear down that wall. Yeah. Isn't it amazing the difference? Oh my goodness. The patriotism we had, dropping the Iron Curtain, and all that. But we got people that are talking about, tear down the wall here.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We gotta finish this wall. Come to our country where you're supposed to. Legally. Do it the right way. Please. Come to our country.
It's kind of hard when they're wanting to give them cards and homes and health care and driver's license.
It's way too late at night to get me up on that soapbox. Well, we'll be here talking till 8 o'clock in the morning. You put me on that soapbox, and we've got a mess. We'll deal with that on Monday, along with some other issues. No, we got Mama said Monday. We'll come back.
Well,
Don't you worry. Don't you fear. We coming back. Mm,
maybe we'll have a mom join us. That would be great. We need a
that
mom
would
on
be
Monday
awesome.
nights.
Maybe we'll get
We need a female co-host. We need three. Me and you and she makes
we need
three.
four.
We need
We need
that.
four. We need four.
Four.
Yeah. Don't mess with us. Hey, dude, we can throw 8 more up here. Don't mess with me. We'll fill it up. I don't care. Won't hurt my feeling a bit.
When
Be kind of
school's
laughing.
out, when school takes a break, we need to get our friend, teacher friend, to come up on Monday night. That would be great.
I bet she come up on she might come up. I'll send her a message. We'll see if she'll come up on Monday night. She gets tired doing this. She gets tired. She's got a lot of stuff going on. We'll see what we can do. All right. Well,
Too low.
everybody, we're glad you made it through the storm.
Yeah.
For those of you who are still without power and you're not watching us right now, you don't know it. We're praying for you. And if there's
Always.
yes, those of you who lost loved ones struggling right now with all this storm stuff, we're still praying. We're gonna keep praying. And for our elections coming up, we're praying. Y'all get out there, register to vote, vote intelligently, get some information. What else?
Well, all the storm damage, everything. And by the way, we need to close the border on Helene. She can never come back to America. She's not welcome.
Kick her out.
She was mean. She was
Nasty.
overstayed her welcome, nasty.
Yeah.
Did bad things, hurt a lot of
Yeah.
people. Can't come back. Out of here.
I don't believe in fat shaming anybody, but she was a big girl.
She was a big girl. Hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So get okay. So no more hurricanes named Helene. Got you.
Well, the next one's called Isaac. If it makes it this far, I think it's already Isaac, or it will be Isaac. If that's the name they have. Isaac.
I don't like that name.
Wasn't that the
Okay,
guy's
well, why
name?
can't we ever just have a mellow name?
Well,
Why don't we have one named Betty Lou?
Betty Lou.
That would be awesome, actually. Hey, salute you guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Don't forget Sunday
John,
night
appreciate y'all the
SFP
comments.
News
YouTube
Desk.
Cook. Huh?
I said, don't forget Sunday night SFP News Desk, 9 p.m., where we talk, yes, politics, and we'll be looking at election issues. And the next episode of Southern Talk is going to focus on the great state of Kentucky. We looked at North Carolina this last time. We're going to look at Kentucky.
Bluegrass. Y'all, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Salute. Wait a minute. I'm going to remember to do this.
Hey, we're going to have music? Yay!
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show.